Football team taught us one thing. Expectations don't mean very much. No one thought the Bulldogs had a shot at a great season. All they did was advance to the state final game and come within a touchdown of the state title. This season, it's more of the same. The reason for their low expectations last year was youth. As they get ready for this season in preseason camps, the Bulldogs bring plenty of experience back, and despite losing the state's leading rusher, are ready to defy all expectations again. Last year was a learning experience, and after a summer of hard work, the Bulldogs are ready for more.
We have 16 kids back that started for us that were part of that team, and they know how close we were, but they also know the work that it took to get there. So we had a great summer, and we're excited about that. We know we got to go to work.
It was kind of a disappointment to come out and lose it in the last game, but no one thought we were going to be there, and we worked hard to get there. So we're going to work just that much harder so that we can get there.
Despite the day, we have a preview of two teams coming up after this. Fall athletic teams in Colorado during the busy season. 6 sports compete from one corner of the state to another. Now here on the Western Slope, no competition is fiercer than on the football field, especially in the SWC. The Grand Junction Tigers hit the field on day 1 with a passion. In the back of their minds, Week 1's trip to Chatfield and that only conference loss from a season ago to Fruita. The Tigers are out to prove their place is near the top of the standings and once again in the postseason. Junction wasn't the only school opening up fall practice on this Monday. The Palisade Bulldogs hit the field as well. Expectations are high for Todd Casebeer's crew. Unlike last year, you see the rumor spreading through Colorado is that when the rankings first come out, Palisade Bulldogs will be ranked #1 in 3A. Why? Well, last year's team only had 5 returning seniors and they finished 2nd in state. So where will this year's team finish if they only have to replace 5 departing seniors?
Right now they think we can have a special team, and I think that's right. And it's all about how they approach it and how hard they work, and right now they're doing that.
We walk by every day and see that 2nd place trophy, and it kind of hits us down deep, and we just want to get back there and get our picture on the wall. And it's definitely something we look at every day, and it's just a pain in the ass walking by there and seeing those pictures not ours up there. It's kind of disappointing.
And a year ago, Palisade's football team was competing for a state championship against the Florence Huskies. But even after that impressive season, the Bulldogs have higher goals for this year. Here's the Bulldogs in action. This is at last year's state championship game. And they love to make it back again this season. Head coach Todd Casebeer says the offense and defensive lines are the strength of this dominant team this year. And with returning quarterback, Casebeer thinks the Bulldogs stack up pretty well against their conference rivals. They don't play their first conference game until the 5th week of the season. And the Bulldogs have spent some time in the offseason building on last year's close call.
Being that close, let them know that the opportunities don't come by, number 1 and number 2. It made them hungry to get back and hopefully find a way to get the thing done. But it's so hard to do, and there's a lot of football that needs to be played between now and then. And it's crazy at this point to be talking about being state champs, but certainly it's something in the back of your mind. You're losing the finals.
The Bulldogs have practiced 3 times a day this week. They're hoping all that hard work will pay off down the road.
The Palisade football team fell 7 points short of a state title. As 0 week approaches, the Bulldogs are ready to get back on the field Saturday for their season opener. Like Friday, the other Grand Valley 0 week team, the Bulldogs played their opening opponent last year. Adams City was little match for the Bulldogs as Palisade rolled 41-12. Despite that, the Bulldogs are just hoping their conditioning is in season shape and they're able to get off to a good start. As far as playing early, the Bulldogs think it's an advantage.
It's gonna show us where we're at. It's gonna help us prepare for the other games ahead. It's gonna give us maybe a mental and a physical edge on the other teams because we'll just be more prepared, I think.
We get to go before everyone else. It's like everyone else is scrimmaging and we're playing a game, so it gives us a good upper hand and we get to see where we're at.
It's probably a safe bet that Todd Casebeer is not mentioning the fact that Adams City was 1-9 last year. Probably not even mentioning that score from last year. This is the best team the Bulldogs will play until their next game. How about some pro football?
Expectations are high, and getting off to a good start is key.
You're trying to put so much in, at the same time trying to get them in shape, and mentally they're tired, physically they're tired, and there's just a lot of challenges, and that's why You know, that makes football a tough sport, but it's one of those things we feel like we have to do, and as I said, it's on track right now.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure on us to win and not to lose, come out with a undefeated season, but that's hard to do. A lot of teams try for that, but it's just a really hard goal, and it's a lot of pressure, but I think we're up to the challenge.
Panthers 3A runner-up team, Palisade head coach Todd Casebeer knew his football squad would have to enter the 2003 season as the team to beat this year. Talk no more, because Palisade opened the season at Adams High School on Saturday. The Bulldogs looking forward to another big year. First quarter opening drive. Dustin Harris rolls out for a big gain. That sets up 1st and goal for the Bulldogs. 2 plays later, his name is Kyle Britton. Get used to this. Kyle Britton into the end zone. 7-0 Palisade. The Eagles playing on the ensuing possession. Come out of their own end zone. It goes about 10 yards or so. Great field position for the Bulldogs. Once again, 2 plays later, Kyle Britton into the end zone. I'm telling you, get used to that phrase right in your living room. Well, not really, but it does go into the end zone. Big day for Britton. He would have 11 carries, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half. Second quarter, Victor Green gets the ball. He is gone, 58 yards, a touchdown run. Green would have another touchdown in the first half. Bulldogs win it easily, 42-0.
It looked like we did okay. You're going to have to watch the film just like in any game, but the biggest thing is we got out of it healthy. We got to win, got out of there healthy, and I think our kids did some good things.
We had 2 days up until Monday, and then we had 3 days to get ready for this team. So, yeah, it was a lot for us prepared for. Like I said, being a new coach in the school and putting the staff together, it's been one of those kind of situations. So we did the best we could under the situation. It won't happen again, trust me.
But Palisade is 1-0. Fruita Mountain Wildcats.
Corey Sperry can run and throw the ball with the best of them. And Pueblo's team has had 3 weeks to prepare for revenge against the Bulldogs, while Palisade had a game to focus on last week. Head coach Todd Casebeer says his team will have to find a way to contain Pueblo's all-state quarterback. And although it can be tough playing on Saturdays, his team's ready for the challenge.
And I think our guys are ready to play today, but as coaches, we have a lot of stuff we're still trying to get in with that 0-week game. You were kind of pushing everything for the first game, so now we're going back and working on the things we need to and maybe changing some things a little bit, but our guys will be ready on Saturday.
The Bulldogs and Hornets face each other this Saturday at Stoker Stadium. Game time is 1 p.m. And after losing
to get up to speed. If they're not up to speed after their huge win in 0 week, the Palisade football team is going to be right back in the state title game. In their opener last Saturday, the Bulldogs offense and defense were hitting on all cylinders. Adams City was no match in a Palisade 42-0 win. Despite the impressive win, the Bulldogs had plenty to work on this week as they prepare for Pueblo County, team they beat 42-28 last season.
Pueblo County's a little better team, real confident going into this game. Everybody needs to step it up a notch at practice. Coaches doing the best they can. We've got a great coaching staff doing the best they can to prepare for this game.
Well, it's Pueblo County. They're a great team. We have to play to the best we can. We have to play as a team, and this week we're working hard.
Bulldogs looking for that 2nd win of the year this Saturday at Stoker Stadium. 7 p.m. is kickoff. Highlights for you Saturday night at 10.
Last Saturday, the Dogs trounced Adams City 42-0. Today, the Maroon and White host a familiar foe, Pueblo County. In last year's 3A semifinals, the Dogs beat the Hornets 42-28 and were action at a sunny Stoker Stadium. Second quarter, 14-0 Dogs. Dustin Harris gives it to Victor Green, and Green is gone. The long run makes it 21-0 Dogs. 9.8 ticks left in the first half. 4th down, the Hornets going for it. Looking to the end zone. And Cody Nystrom breaks up the pass, keeping it scoreless, 21-0 at the half. Third quarter, Hornets driving again. Another 4th down, pass to Corey Spear, but Alex Swanson, Dustin Harris are there to break it up. Hornets turned away. Ensuing Palisade drive, Dustin Harris, play action pass to Tyler Barnes. That's touchdown, 28-0 at that point. 49-7 is your final. Palisade rides their D to 2-0.
We didn't think that we'd beat them that big, and we just played our hearts out. And our defense, we're gonna go practice hard, work defense, and we're ready to go.
They came close to scoring the one time, but we shut that team out, and that's a tremendous talented quarterback for sure. And they've got some kids that can catch the ball. So our defense, I'm really happy with that. If we can play defense like that, we're going to be hard to beat.
And here are some more scores for you from Class 4.
Of course, all kinds of Grand Valley teams playing in action today. The Palisade Bulldogs, for one, they take the field today against a team some thought was one of the best in 3A high school football. You couldn't tell today as the Bulldogs stomped all over them. We head to Grand Junction Stoker Stadium where Palisade hosts the Pueblo County Hornets. The Bulldogs came to play today. They lead 7-0 after the first quarter. Then it's Palisade fullback Jason Popick in the second. He takes a dive in for 6, 14-zip Dogs. Then it's Pueblo County driving. Here's quarterback Corey Sperry keeping the ball and taking to the outside. A couple stiff arms, and he moves for 20 yards. Check him out right here. A little bit of hard-hitting action as he goes out of bounds. But the Bulldog defense forms a wall in the red zone. Sperry here gets sacked by a barrage of maroon. They would not get in the end zone. Moving the other way now, here's Victor Green breaking through the line, and he's off to the races. A 40-yard dash for the end zone. Bulldogs now 21-0. Pueblo County gets another scoring opportunity just before the half. JT Musso picks off the pass by Dustin Harris, but the Bulldog D holds strong once more. The Palisade Bulldogs run over the state-ranked Pueblo County today. 49-7 the final. The Bulldogs are now 2-0 on the season. And another high school action.
Season this afternoon with a contest against Pueblo County. Now, these two schools met in last season's state semifinals with the Bulldogs taking the victory. Palisade looking to continue its dominance over the Hornets. And we get you right out to the pictures from Stoker Stadium, Palisade, and Pueblo County. Here's 2nd and 5 in the first quarter for Palisade from the 34-yard line. Kyle Britton takes the handoff, turns the corner, and it's off to the races down the sideline for the touchdown to put the Bulldogs ahead by 7. Now on 3rd and 6, 29-yard line. Watch this catch by Jake Moore there as he leaps for it and makes the incredible grab there. A 34-yard reception would set up this play in the second quarter. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Jason Popick up the middle for the touchdown to put the Bulldogs ahead 14-0. Now we move ahead to the third quarter here. More Palisade offense. Harris finds a wide open Tyler Barnes, and he is gone. A defender not within 10 yards of him. He's going to go into the end zone for the touchdown. Palisade cruises in this one by a score of 49-7. Some other action of some of the local teams today. Grand Junction fell to Chatfield.
The Palisade Bulldogs felt they didn't get the respect they deserved. After a trip to the state title game and outscoring their opponents 91-7 in their first 2 games, the Bulldogs are respected. They're the #1 3A team in the state. Coming off their impressive 49-7 win over Pueblo County, the Bulldogs will be tested this week when they take on Northridge. Last season, the Grizzlies gave the Bulldogs all they could handle as Palisade pulled out a 13-12 win. With the #1 ranking this year, the Bulldogs know they now have a giant target on their back and hope to play their game and continue the play that has made them #1.
I've been trying to tell our kids that everybody's really focused on them, and as long as our guys realize it, it's fine. But that's a pretty hard spot for a young man to be in, and to be somebody that everybody wants to beat. And I don't think you really realize it until you're on the other side. And we were on the other side last year when we played a couple teams, so hopefully they'll be ready for that challenge.
Everybody wants to be where we are. I mean, being the underdog was, everybody disrespected us and nobody thought we could do anything, and it was just an advantage towards us. Now we got a big target, so everybody's got to work a little bit harder, keep things going.
Last year it was rain and thunder and lightning that led to the low score. This year, probably not so much. We'll have results for you on this one Saturday night at 10.
Sports 8 End Zone, live.
That's right, we are live, and it is football time, everybody. Welcome to the 2003 debut of the Sports 8 End Zone show. I am Frank Martin. Sitting to my left, of course, the voice of the team, Sports Talk 1340 AM, Jim Davis. Jim, thank you for coming back for us for another season. How was your off season?
It was a great off season, though. You know what? I've been anxious for some football. Football season is here. It's outstanding. We had a great couple of weeks of the opening part of the 2003 football season here in the Grand Valley.
I would have to definitely agree with you, and I'm very excited, of course, about this year's show because we're going to do a lot of stuff differently this year. We're going to go in different directions on certain things. We're going to add the talents of Tyler Hedrick. We upgraded our prediction segment, at least we think we upgraded our prediction segment. And also, we didn't mess with something that wasn't broken. This is still the best place to get all of your Western Slope football highlights, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get to that right now. Let's get right to it. Back to the highlights, and no better place to start than with the #1 team in 3A. They just happen to reside right here in our county. Palisade on the road against Northwood. I'm going to thank Todd Casper for the game film, which is what we're watching right here. Now I'm starting to get scared because this is better than our video. Got to be, this is from a high school kid. That's Kyle Britton there. 76 yards, I believe, on this run right here. His second of the game. That was basically the clincher because Palisade didn't struggle, although people want to say that. Look at this victory. It was a tough one for the undefeated Palisade Bulldogs. 3-0 now, Todd Casper's team. Kyle Britton, a huge day on the ground. Northridge kind of hurt themselves with 150 yards penalty, Jim, but just like last year, the Bulldogs are 3-0. They faced Sterling in week 4. Is this team a little different from the 2002 Bulldogs, though?
Well, I don't know about necessarily different, Frank. I think when you talk about the offense for this Palisade football team, certainly more diverse than last year. Everything went through Travis Bounds last year, and of course Travis is the 3A Player of the Year. Had a phenomenal season, over 2,000 yards rushing for Todd Casper. But this year with Victor Green, with Kyle Britton, with Dustin Harrison, with a very versatile offense, good receivers. I mean, this is a football team that can hurt you throwing the ball and can also hurt you running the football, where teams last year defensively can kind of gang up on the Palisade Bulldogs as far as the running game went with Travis Bounds. Can't really do that this year. They're a more versatile offense. And I think for this Palisade football team, the difference this year, not having to get on the bus and go all the way to Sterling, which is a long, long road trip for any football team, they get Sterling here on Friday.
Well, I was going to say, people at home, you just saw right now our guest, Mike Corangrado, who comes in. He's part of the reason that they have such a good running attack and passing attack over there, one of the linemen. Mike, thank you for joining us. And I got to ask you a question. Jim just talked about not having to take that long bus ride. What are you thinking about next week's game?
I think that's going to help a lot. A lot of guys were sick. I myself was. I had the flu. It was a really long bus ride, and I think that will help us out a lot, that we get our home field and we won't have the bus legs.
You know, last year, Mike, when you played Sterling, you lost to them 40-36. I mean, you put up 36 points on the scoreboard. That's usually good enough to win any football game. But it seemed like that you just could not put Sterling away at home last year.
Yeah, our defense, I don't know, they weren't as good as they were this year. We're doing a lot better. But yeah, you're right. With 36 points, you think that'd be enough to do it, but it wasn't last year.
Well, this is a Sterling team that right now is 0-2, but they have 15 returning starters from last year. They have Jay Squire at quarterback, who's a pretty proficient passer for them. Tell me what you think about this Sterling team in terms of what they bring to the table offensively.
Again, I think they'll be a playoff team. They were last year. They're a good team. We're not going to underestimate them like we kind of did this last week with Northridge. We're going to go out and play hard and try to get on them fast.
And when we talk about Palisade, you know, of course, Kyle Britton and Victor Green and Dustin Harris get a lot of the attention. But up front, you and guys like Matt Popick, I mean, that offensive line has really come together. A lot of experience from last year, and you guys really provide the kind of leadership up front that this offense needs to be able to go out and put up 42 points on the scoreboard against an Adams City and the other teams that you faced this year.
Yeah, our line's doing really good. We have good chemistry together. We work together and try to just really get the job done for the running backs and quarterbacks.
Now, you play on both sides of the football. On the defensive side, what have you seen as the biggest changes this year defensively? Because I think overall you're a faster defense this year.
Yeah, the biggest just moving Matt back, and then we got more, which opened up for me. We got a lot of depth now at line. Our defensive line's doing real good, and then DBs, Kyle, and we got the new kid Cody from Plateau Valley. They're just all doing really good. We're a lot faster.
You know, I only get to see you guys maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week, either one day of practice and then the game. One thing I've always noticed, though, about Palisade in my 2 short years here, well coached. Your coaches have you guys really prepared offensively. Coach Arledge, I mean, Coach Casper, and the rest of the coaches. I don't want to, put anyone down, but it seems like you're always prepared.
Yeah, I think our coaching squad is one of the best. I mean, if not the best in 3A.
You better say that.
Yeah, they coach us really hard with it, and that's why we do good, because we practice hard.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike, for joining us. We appreciate it, and good luck this week against Sterling. The best of luck to keep that undefeated record intact. Right now, we're going to check in on the rest of the games from this weekend. We call it the recap.
The Palisade football team is for real. After falling in the state title game last year, the Bulldogs have started this season 3-0 and are ranked #1 in the state. This week, they look to remain perfect and avenge a loss from last season. Tomorrow, Palisade hosts Sterling, a team that beat the Bulldogs 40-36 last year. While getting revenge is nice, the Bulldogs were tested last week and know they have to keep improving with a date with Rifle 2 weeks away. Being #1 in the state is nice, but the Bulldogs still search for respect and improvement.
I don't know about us getting respect this year. Everybody wants us, so I guess they do respect us, but it's no difference how we play.
Northridge played with great effort, and we saw, hopefully our kids saw what teams are going to try to do to us. So we need to be ready for that. And right now with league play starting in a week, we have less on our minds about last year's Sterling game and more on about what we need to do to take care of ourselves.
The Bulldogs will hope to keep their minds on Sterling as their arch rival Rifle and Southwestern League foe will be next week. This one, 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll have all your football highlights tomorrow night at 10 in the 5th quarter.
Blockbusters tonight on display at Stoker Stadium, the only 2 undefeated teams in town. We start with the #1 ranked team in the 3A ranks, Palisade hosting Sterling. Last year, Sterling gave the Dogs one of their own 3 losses on the season. First quarter, no score. Now Dogs driving. Dustin Harris. Get used to the name, folks. He has a lot of highlights tonight. Wide open, Alex Swanson hits him in stride. Swanson tackled at the 15-yard line, leads to the 5-yard Dustin Harris version of the touchdown run. Check out the hit. He's a quarterback putting it on him. But then again, you know what? He's not just a quarterback. He's a free safety. Ask Shane Gertner, wide receiver from Sterling. Enter Dustin Harris. Exit stage right. Wow. In the 4th quarter, Palisade clinging to a 10-point lead, 4th and that much. Dustin Harris, I told you to get used to the name. 3 touchdowns today. He did throw 2 picks. Victor Green also added 3 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. They win it 45-28. They outscore Sterling 28-7 in the second half.
This is a veteran team. We've been here before. I just said this. It's up to you. It's your team. We only call the plays. You guys got to come together and make it happen, and we challenge them a little bit. And from the get-go, our kids decided it was time to play, and that's what we did.
It was a dogfight. We came out flat and went in the locker room second half, exchanged some words between football players, and got it done in the second half.
Hey, now listen to me. The undefeated Palisade Bulldogs hosting the Sterling Tigers. Palisade goes to work first. Here's quarterback Dustin Harris on the keeper around the top end. He moves in from 5 yards out, 7-0 Bulldogs. But Sterling responds quickly. They'll drive inside the red zone and hand the ball to fullback, breaking tackles for the 10-yard touchdown. Tie game at 7. Still in the first quarter, it's Dustin Harris again. He'll get the big surge by the O-line and push in from 2 yards out. 14-7 Bulldogs. Once again, Sterling right on top of it. Here's a toss to an open receiver on the sidelines. He reaches forward with the ball. Touchdown Sterling. Tied at 14. A close first half for the Bulldogs today, but they get the win 45-28. And the Colorado Rockies kick off a weekend setting
to run their record to 4-0. The Palisade Bulldogs were back home to take on Sterling, team that beat the Bulldogs last season. Out to Stoker for the start of this one. First quarter, we'll pick it up scoreless. 3rd and goal from the 2 for the Bulldogs, Dustin Harris. Thinking about it, taking it in. He's got a 2-yard touchdown. The Bulldogs have a 7-0 lead. Tied at 7. 4th and goal from the 1 for Palisade, and Victor Green takes it in. 1-yard touchdown. Bulldogs up by a touchdown. Second quarter, same score. 1st and goal from the 13. Jeff Squire, Shane Gertner. He's taking it in, and he has a score. 13 yards. We're tied at 14. Now, 2nd and 10 from the 30. It's Harris looking to throw, and he gets picked off by Shane Kramer. And he's taking it to the opposite sideline and taking it to the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, 21-14. The Bulldogs come out firing in the second half. That's Harris in for a 3-yard touchdown. The Bulldogs blow up in the second half. They win this one by a final of 45-28, moving to 4-0. The Palisade Bulldogs very much looking like they deserve that #1 ranking in Division 3A. The action will continue.
Sports 8 End Zone, live.
It is football time, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the End Zone, your only avenue in the Grand Valley for news related to your football teams. I am Frank Martin. As usual, to my left, the voice of the team, Sports Talk 1340. His name is Jim Davis. And Jim, what a weekend of football. Our teams, they just went wild.
11-4, and what a great start to the season for the high school football teams in the Grand Valley, but also for Mesa State College. Mavericks off to a great start, rough at Central Oklahoma, but boy, what a big win against North Dakota's Fighting Sioux, number 19 team in the nation. Joe Romano and his team put together a great defensive effort. Offense played well enough to get the victory Saturday.
Everyone, Jim has a lot to say about everything because he has a lot to talk about. That's what happens when teams win. They give us stuff to talk about.
Exactly.
But we're going to get to what we do best. We break down the highlights and stuff like that. Tyler Hedrick's going to join us in a little while as well, so stick around for that. But let's get to those highlights. We move on to the team that is number 1 in 3A. They are the Palisade Bulldogs taking on Sterling. Are the Palisade Bulldogs for real? Let's find out. Yeah, I think they are for real. 4th and short. Dustin Harris calls his own number. Touchdown run seals Palisade's 45-28 victory. Jim, I got to ask you, get 3 touchdowns from Victor Green, 3 touchdowns from Dustin Harris. The Palisade Bulldogs are 4-0. They are the number 1 team in 3A.
Yeah, when you have those two guys, each scoring 3 touchdowns on the day, rough first half for Palisade, didn't really get it going, trailed. Only the second time this season, trailing in a football game, turned it on the second half, and really the difference in this game was their defense. They went out and forced 3 consecutive turnovers by the Tigers offense. Good football teams have defenses that force turnovers, and their offenses respond, and that's exactly the kind of effort that Todd Casebeer and the Bulldogs had on Friday afternoon in the second half, 45-28 the final, and now the big one coming up, Rifle Bears to open up conference play.
And what better way to segue? We welcome the head coach of the Palisade Bulldogs, Todd Casebeer, just got in to join us here on the End Zone. Todd, congratulations on a 4-0 start. This week you got Rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any easier for us. But we feel like we're running the gauntlet a little bit. It's Rifle and Steamboat League, so we got our hands full.
I'm going to sidetrack you. I told you this was going to happen. We know how big of a rivalry it is here, so I want to welcome Coach Daryl Gorham, who's on the phone. Coach, are you with us?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on tonight.
We thank you for joining us. And, Coach, you've got the rival coach you're going to see on the opposite sideline this Friday against you. I'm going to ask you now, Rifle 2-1, and you got Palisade this week.
Well, you know, that's going to present some problems for us. You know, our kids are working hard right now, and Palisade has an awful good team. And looking at them on film, right now we're just trying to figure out a way to get a first down, and hopefully we can keep them out of the end zone about 8 times.
Hey, Daryl, this year it's been kind of a different start for the Rifle Bears football team. You lose to Roaring Fork, and then a tough one, an overtime win against the Montrose Indians by a point. Can you explain kind of what's going on with your team right now? Because we're not used to the Rifle Bears kind of struggling a little bit early on in the season.
Well, you know, right now we've got some inexperienced players, and well, like I said before, these kids are hard-working kids, and you know, we went down to Montrose, and then Troy Weiss, our good running back and defensive back, ended up getting hurt in the second quarter, and so the kids had to experience trying to play without him, and you know, the bottom line was the kids got it done in the end, and well, we went back to look at film, and we're just trying to make some adjustments so we can go ahead and compete with Palisade this Friday.
One more question for Coach Casebeer, who also here. You heard that, you know Rifle, though, and I know you guys. This is going to be another dogfight, probably an overtime game again. I mean, this is going to be a close one.
Well, we hope it doesn't go down to overtime. We're not doing too good with Rifle in overtime games. But we know it's going to be a good game. We know this time last year what happened. Everybody was talking about Rifle, and it ended up being overtime. And this year we just know we're in for a tough fight.
Well, I'm glad I had you both on, guys. We ran out of time here. But, Coach Gorham, thank you very much for joining us from Rifle. We appreciate you. Best of luck this Friday night. And, Coach Casebeer, a lot more to offer than just
football play sees the biggest game of the year. Palisade and Rifle are set to renew their heated rivalry that usually decides the league champion. To add to the intensity, the Bulldogs enter the game, the #1 ranked team in the state, and looking for revenge. Last year at Stoker Stadium, the Bears came in and beat the Bulldogs by 3 points. The Bears went on to win the West Slope League title, but it was the Bulldogs who advanced to the state title game. Bulldogs know that everything is out the window for this game.
I think we're confident, but the fact that Rifle's not been blowing everybody out means nothing. I mean, they're going to be ready for us. It's a huge game for them also. Their kids are going to be focused just like they always are. They've been, as I said, the dominant team in the league, and so we're going to have to play our best football to win.
This is a big win, and we'd like to get out. We got to play our game. We got to show up to play. Everybody has to get off the ball and play our game, or it could be a difficult game.
The Bulldogs coming off their big win over Sterling take on Rifle, who, like they said, a close one. They won 39-38 over Montrose. This one tomorrow night at 7. Highlights for you in the 5th quarter at 10 o'clock.
That's live. It's live and it's football time, everybody. Welcome back to the End Zone. High school football covered in depth by us here. I, of course, am Frank Martin, as usual. To my left, Jim Davis, the mouth of the Sports Talk 1340. Not just mouth, the voice, I guess you could say, because I don't want to give you the bad rep.
Either way works, Frank. I'll take either way.
Big week of high school football and college football here in the Grand Valley. We called it 2 weeks ago Redemption Week. Maybe we can call last weekend Statement Week. Teams kind of created their identity.
Yeah, I think so. I think there were some big statements made. The Rifle Bears certainly made a big statement Friday night with their win over top-ranked Palisade. The Central Warriors continue to make a statement. They're now 4-0. And how about the Grand Junction Tigers? Offense and defense, special teams, all in full force for Sean Marsh on Friday night. Tigers right now might be playing the best football of anybody in the Grand Valley, and Fruita Monument making a statement that they're still a team to reckon with in the Southwestern Conference after their convincing win over Broomfield.
We'll see all of those highlights, plus we're going to talk with some of the Grand Junction Tigers in the second segment of this show. But let's do what we do best. Let's get to the highlights. It was the matchup of the weekend. It was Rifle. It was Palisade, the #1 team in 3A versus the #9 team in 3A. Rifle, of course, hosting the Bulldogs of Palisade. We go up north on I-70 to the game. Got there just a bit late, but it was 7-0 Bears. The Palisade Bulldogs were out to change that. Victor Green, 31 yards, 7-6. They blocked the extra point, and then Rifle rattles off 21 straight points. Jim, you were there. Take me back to Friday night.
Well, I think this game was really decided early on in this contest on a 4th down and goal from the 1 after Palisade got the opening kickoff. Dustin Harris was unable to score on a quarterback sneak, and then Rifle responds by going 98 yards. Marcus Carrion with the go-ahead touchdown, the first score of the game. And really after that, it seemed like Rifle seized control. 3rd quarter, I thought, was really a big difference in this football game. About an 8.5-minute drive to open the second half by Rifle took the wind out of Palisade Sales.
Okay, you treat that big hit by Dustin Harris. Remember that, because you might see that in the plays of the week. He, of course, trying to stop the touchdown there. That was, I believe, Aaron Jewell on the other end of that. But the Rifle Bears, this is one of the touchdowns that I told you about, getting to the end zone. And then they go to a little trickery in the 4th quarter. Marcus Carrion with the halfback option pass. As you'll see in the result of this play and the final score, Palisade loses on the road. Not a very good game for the Palisade Bulldogs, but I got to say it's because Rifle played an extremely well game. Afterwards, they told us all about it.
No doubts at all. We knew we could do it. We knew if we came out with our attitude and effort, we could get the job done, and we did.
Feels better, not so much what Palisade was doing, and I think
by Rifle, they had 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8 throughout the football game. Kyle Sanderson was just phenomenal in that first drive. I don't think he had an incomplete pass on their first drive of the football game. He was a big difference. I don't think Palisade expected the Bears to be that proficient in throwing the football. They were on Friday night, and then Marcus Carrion was able to pick up some of the slack for Troy Weiss, who was out with that ankle injury.
Palisade drops to 3rd in the Denver Post News 9 poll, all the way down to 8th in the Rocky Mountain poll. Jim, Rifle up to 7, which is good because I hate it when you have the team that beat the other team. They're behind them. But anyways, and I talked to Daryl Gorham earlier in the day on the phone. He wanted me to mention Damon Wells' name. He is Rifle's defensive coordinator. He said he did an outstanding job. And he said, if you don't even mention my name, mention Damon's name. Well, Coach, there I did that for you. Congratulations to you guys. Both teams, of course, next week.
Bound after taking their first loss of the season and sliding in the ranks. This week they face an undefeated team from Steamboat Springs. Palisade had carried a #1 ranking through their first 3 victories, but since their loss to Rifle, they've fallen to 3rd. The beating serves as a wake-up call to the Bulldogs that they can be defeated. And since that loss came to a conference team, head coach Todd Casebeer says the Bulldogs are in a must-win situation. So with a tough week of practice ahead, some Bulldogs are even fighting for their starting spots.
You know, that's one of the things they say, you learn more from your losses. So it is what it is. All that stuff is no longer, and our backs are against the wall, and Steamboat's got a fine football team. So we're in about as must-win a situation as you can be this early in the season.
Palisade stays at home to take on Steamboat, which is their 2nd conference game of the season, and the Bulldogs won that matchup last season. Well, it's countdown.
Ball play. Now, in the middle of the pack sits Palisade at 4-3. The Dogs are still battling to say a chance to do something they haven't done in a year. Practice after a loss. The 35-14 setback. Now, it's not the end of the world for Palisade, even though, as Coach Casebeer called it, the Dogs laid an egg up there in Rifle. The loss gives Palisade a chance, though, to find out what kind of team they really are.
We've been here before with the same group of kids, and we feel like they've got it in them because we've seen them do it. And it comes back to everybody coaching harder, playing harder, and if we do that, we think we can turn the thing around. I mean, we've had, we've won 4 out of 5, and unfortunately the one that we didn't play well was a league game, but we got another league game on Friday, and if we take care of ourselves, we think, we got them at our place, which we're excited about, and we know that they're good. We know they're going to be ready, but we've played some good teams, so if we play the way we can, we think we're going to have a chance.
Now the run at number 1 in the state came crashing down thanks to the Rifle Bears. Now the Bulldogs are looking to regroup. This week the coaching staff is doing just about everything to get the team back where they should be. That includes not letting the kids talk to the media. Head coach Todd Casebeer thinks all the top ranked in the state attention might have gone to the Bulldogs' head. That aside, the Bulldogs this week face unbeaten Steamboat that hopes to see the same team that lost to Rifle last week.
We were very uninspired up at Rifle. I mean, we were not enthused. We weren't playing for each other. We had some guys kind of doing their own thing. So what we're talking about all week and we'll continue to is being excited to play the great game of football and at the same time getting back to being scrappy. And if we do those two things, we think we're going to put the type of football team on the field we had in the last few years.
If it is that team, they beat the Sailors 33-20 last year. This one is Friday. We have a correction to make. We said Saturday at 5:30. It is actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. Game 1 of a double dip at Stoker Stadium. The Grand Junction
hosting Steamboat Springs. Early on, Dustin Harris to Jason Popick. The Dogs were down 3-0. Check that. Now they're up 6-3. Extra point was no good. A very next time Palisade gets the ball, his name is Kyle Britton. You know it because he always does this. Gets into the end zone. 2-point conversion, no good. 12-3 Dogs at that point. But the Sailors go on a 21-0 run from there. David made it. Chris Dombey. Flag for pass interference. 12-10. It'll count. They'll take the touchdown. They come right back. Same connection. May to Dombey. 18-12 Sailors. They actually led 24-12. Palisade would score the next 22 points. Matt Popick with the nail in the coffin. 41-31 your final. Palisade, the Bulldogs are back.
We messed up a little bit, and we came right back. It didn't even faze us whatsoever. We just came back strong.
That's kind of what team you guys want to be the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's what kind of team we're going to be the rest of the season.
It comes down to, we didn't feel like we played the way we could against Rifle. And we wanted to bounce back this week and play our style of football and just play hard. And that's what we did. So it's nice to get the win, but it's more important to me that we played our style of ball.
Only loss of the season in a conference game last week. Continue a tough schedule as they face undefeated Steamboat Springs today. To Stoker Stadium we go. The Bulldogs in hot pursuit of the end zone. Dustin Harris connects with Joe Logsdon for the 7-yard strike. Extra point would be no good, and the Bulldogs are out to a 6-3 lead. Second quarter action now. Harris hands off to Kyle Britton. He's off to the races. He takes it to the house from 23 yards out. Palisade would try for 2, but wouldn't convert, so they stretch their lead to 9 with about 5 minutes left in the half. It's Steamboat's David May. He puts one up for Chris Dombey. He gets a little tied up, but he comes down with the ball in the end zone for 6. They tack on an extra point and cut the Bulldog lead to 2. And in a high-scoring game, Palisade actually had to make a comeback to beat Steamboat Springs, but they do it 41, the final score there tonight.
And the Bulldogs would respond. Dustin Harris leaps over the line of scrimmage there, over the goal line for the touchdown to put the Bulldogs up by 10. Then later on, Jason Popick puts the game away 45 yards down the sideline into the end zone for the touchdown. The Palisade Bulldogs rebound from last week's tough loss at Rifle with a 41-31 win over their Western Slope League rivals, Steamboat Springs.
Everybody, welcome back to your same old end zone show. I know it just looks a lot different. We got a new set. We're trying a whole bunch of new things out this week, but we are still the only place that high school football is covered in depth. I am Frank Martin. Jim Davis will join me in just a bit, as will Tyler Hedrick. We'll get to those guys in a while, but it was just another solid week of football here in the Grand Valley all the way around. Can you believe it? Everybody won that we root for. So it's just a fun week for us. It makes my job a lot easier, so I can do exactly what I'm about to do right now. We're going to get to some highlights because that's what you guys want to see. Now, last week, the Rifle, it seems like either of the two teams is battling for the Western Slope lead. We picked up Palisade action from this week. They tried to basically get back on board the ship after losing to the Bears last week, taking on Steamboat Springs. This game on Friday at 4 p.m. and Palisade got off to the early start in this one. Dustin Harris to Jason Poppe, extra point no good. 6-3 Palisade at that point. Kyle Britton then having a huge day. 12-3 after this touchdown run. The Sailors go on a 21-0 run from there. Big day for David May, finds Chris Dombey for the touchdown. Pass interference on the play, but May to Dombey, they would do it again. 18-12 Sailors after that. That's in the midst of that 21-0 run. Now, from that point in the second half, Palisade goes on a 22-point run of their own. It was 24-12 at one point. This run by Matt Pofick put the nail in the coffin. The Bears win it the Bulldogs win it 41-31 is your final score. Check out some of these stats, if you will. Actually, we're going to take a little break. We're going to listen to the Palisade Bulldogs.
We messed up a little bit, and we came right back. It didn't even faze us whatsoever. We just came back strong.
That's kind of what team you guys want to be the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's what kind of team we're going to be the rest of the season.
Most important, we want to get back to doing what we do. We just again, all the credit to Rifle and their coaches, but we wanted to get back to our style of football, and that was the most important thing to us. We knew if we did that, we were going to have a chance, and we were able to do that, and now if we went out, we're in the playoffs, and whatever happens with everybody else happens. But I think, you know, we got our hands full. We'll get ready and go to Glenwood and see what happens, but if we take care of ourselves, we can go to the playoffs.
The Team Sports Talk 1340, Jim Davis now joins me in the studio. Jim, you look at all the stats. I know you were out there. Besides David May having a huge day passing the ball for Steamboat, who proved that they were a very admirable team, Palisade gets back on the train. They win a game that they needed to win badly.
Yeah, I certainly think that they had a lot of focus on trying to beat the Rifle Bears, and certainly a big letdown after not playing real well in that football game. And we saw in the first half, Palisade grabs the lead early on, then all of a sudden Steamboat's able to come back. The Palisade secondary played better in the second half, but still, though, has to be a concern for defensive coordinator John Arledge, because you look at David May's numbers of 411 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. The secondary continues to be a concern for the Palisade defense.
Dustin Harris, another 4-touchdown performance in this one. He's having a great year. We're going to move on to our third member of our show. His name is Tyler Hedrick. Of course, he has been at a couple of sports bars in the area. Let's check him out. First up, Steamboat Springs Palisade. Dustin Harris doesn't make it for a hit this week, but check out the acrobatics. Goes up and gets the catch, wins swan style.
Great pick, comes on the return, and 4 touchdowns on the day, 2 in the air and 2 on the ground for him as a quarterback.
Lonnie Radford, now on the other end of the David May pass. David had a big day. Lonnie, did you see that move he put on? Right there, jukes him in for the touchdown. I just had to show that. On number 3.
Rifle 2 weeks ago, the team didn't panic. Instead, it focused on what it can do to improve. And that's just what Palisade did last week against Steamboat when the Dogs rebounded with a 10-point victory. Glenwood Springs now awaits Palisade in a pivotal Western Slope League matchup. The Bulldogs never lost an ounce of confidence after falling from the top spot of the state rankings. If anything, they are hungrier to keep the wins a-coming.
Just don't underestimate anybody. We went into Rifle, we're confident and not prepared, and we just took it like every opponent we had was going to be the best out there. So we just decided to buckle down and practice like it's a state game.
Well, I mean, I think they're feeling pretty good. I don't know if they really ever lost their confidence as much as they just knew that it was came down to our preparation. If we prepare like we did last week, we think we're going to be okay. We've got a bunch of guys banged up right now. We're going to have 5 or 6 starters out, so that's always interesting. But the young guys are going to have to step in there. And again, it all starts with practice with us. If we have a good week of practice, we think we'll be all right.
Now tomorrow, Palisade has a long road trip ahead of themselves as well. They go all the way to Glenwood Springs into Garfield County. That game kicks off at 7 p.m. Friday evening.
By Rifle High School. Now the Bulldogs have put together a couple of comebacks. Now the team is back on track. Bulldogs have fallen behind by a couple of touchdowns in the past 2 weeks' games, but the team pulled together and put 2 more checks in that win column. The Bulldogs say they're not the same team that matched up against Rifle. They've been working hard to deny any repeat of that heartbreaking loss. The head coach Todd Casepier says determination is nothing new to the Bulldogs.
Well, this has been a determined group from the start. Last year we did some great things, and most of those kids are back. So the character that we've shown the last couple of weeks is not a surprise to us. We felt like it was something that we need to get back to. And
right now we're feeling great. I mean, we didn't play the best we could in Rifle, and we knew that. So we came back. We practiced our hearts out. We practiced better than we've practiced all year, and it really helped. I mean, we came back, and like you said, we've won our last 2 games. So
The Bulldogs play their homecoming game at Stoker Stadium this Friday night against Montezuma Cortez, and game time is...
The Bears must win on the road. Well, that was, of course, last week. This past Friday, the Bears traveled to Moffett County to take on a Bulldog team that still had aspirations to win league. As you'll see, Rifle led this game 7-0 on a Sanderson to LeCount pass play, but Moffett got the big plays of the game. 2 interception returns for a touchdown, 76 yards and 102 yards.
It still keeps the door open for Palisade to win the West Slope Conference, but right now Moffett County really in a position to be in the driver's seat in the West Slope Conference. Right now in the top 10 of the Denver Post KUSA 3A rankings, and I think for Palisade, they fell behind early on at Glenwood Springs 13-0, came back to win that game rather convincingly. I think right now the Rifle loss, like I said, kind of opens the door for some people, Palisade in particular. But right now, when you look at the conference, really the team to beat is Moffett County.
Speaking of Palisade, a big night in Glenwood for the Bulldogs. Let me read some stats for you. Kyle Britton, 175 yards. He actually had 3 touchdowns rushing, 1 receiving. Speaking of the passing game, Dustin Harris, 4 touchdowns. He rushed for 1. 115 yards on the ground. You see 183 yards in the air. They take Montezuma Cortez on this week, maybe a team that's down in terms of Cortez. A lot of 2-1 teams in the Western Slope League, though.
That's exactly right. It's a very balanced league with the success Steamboat has had. Of course, you mentioned Moffett County is in the top 10 as well, along with Steamboat Springs. And the Palisade Bulldogs have done a nice job regrouping. Steamboat Springs gave them one heck of a test at Stoker Stadium. Then they go on the road, win at Glenwood Springs. And right now, the Bulldogs certainly have been able to bounce back after that disheartening loss at Rifle.
Kind of the underlying side that nobody really knows. That game actually, Glenwood led 13-0.
13-0, and Palisade came storming back, kind of mad a little bit, and Todd Casper's team responded in a big way.
Well, we're going to try to come back, too, because it's break time right here on the End Zone. More Jim when I come back, plus...
is looking a lot like last for the Palisade Bulldogs. A loss to Rifle midway through the season is proving a much-needed wake-up call. Since the loss, the Bulldogs have defeated conference foes Steamboat and Glenwood and are showing no signs of letting up. After a close win over the Sailors, the Bulldogs were all over Glenwood last week in a 52-21 win. As they prepare to host winless Cortez this week, the Bulldogs know they just can't let up.
How do we keep from overlooking them? Well, we just come to practice and we got to work hard like we always do. We got to come this week and just get better like we do every week, and everything will take care of itself.
Yeah, we found what we were looking for in practice-wise. Our practice has turned around 100%. We got our scrappiness back, and we're out hitting and running every day at practice.
This one Friday night under the lights at Stoker as the Bulldogs look for their 7th win of the year.
They host Montezuma Cortez, who's looking for its first win of the season. The action was at Stoker Stadium tonight, and it's Palisade's homecoming. Penalty cost the Bulldogs a 70-yard run in the first, but later the pitch to Kyle Britton, who takes it in from 10 yards out, and it's 7-0 Bulldogs. Second quarter, Panthers are driving. And their quarterback, Darren Wayman, he puts it up. The only player around wears maroon. And Cody Nystrom takes the interception all the way back. This is a 90-yard return. He gives Palisade the 14-0 lead. And we head into the fourth quarter where it's 27-0 now, Bulldogs leading. Kyle Britton takes the handoff. He's off on a 25-yard run, takes it all the way to the 2. Face mask there, makes it first and goal from the 1. Next play, quarterback Dustin Harris with the quarterback sneak and makes it 34-0 Bulldogs. That's your final score at Stoker Stadium. The Bulldogs now 3-1 in conference play. 11 Sports reporter Chris Miller has more with head coach Todd Casper.
Kelly, the story here tonight is all about defense. Now, Palisade Bulldogs returning two interceptions for touchdowns tonight. We're here with the head coach for Palisade Bulldogs. This is Todd Casper. Todd, first of all, tell us about the importance of the defense and really turning this game around in the first half.
Well, we talked this week about our defense scoring, and it worked out good because we scored twice. And I thought we played pretty good defense tonight. At the same time, I thought Cortez did some good things. They were much improved over what they were last year, so I thought their kids were prepared, and we made some plays on defense. I wasn't real happy with how we played on offense.
Let's go back to the first drive a second. Now, we had actually in the first play of the game, ran for a touchdown. There's a clip about 15 yards back. A few penalties on the play. It was capped off with an interception. What are some of the things that you guys approach the latter part of the season here? Some of the things you guys need to tweak before heading into the postseason?
Well, we did some things tonight that we haven't done all year, especially penalty-wise. So we got to look at the film, and I know we were committing some of those penalties for sure. And that's something we haven't done. Is real uncharacteristic of our team. So we'll look at that. We'll talk to the kids about it. It's not because they're not trying hard. It's just those things happen sometimes, especially the holding. So we'll look at it and see. We're disappointed we didn't get a touchdown on the first drive.
Now, I know you guys are down a few players right now, but when you head into the postseason, you really like to be at full strength. How does this affect the morale of the players, the coaching staff, that kind of thing as you approach the end of the season?
Well, we just have always talked about the next guy's got to get it done. Cody Nystrom played well tonight at fullback, and Tyler Barnes is our tight end, and we missed a couple good players for our team. So, again, we haven't got anything wrapped up yet. We've got to continue to win, and hopefully we'll be in the postseason. But every week we've got to get better. It's the same old thing with the coaches say, and if we do that, we'll be okay.
Okay, thanks very much for joining us. This is Todd Casepier, and I'm Chris Miller at Stoker Stadium. Final score here, 34-0, Palisade over Montezuma Cortez. Back to you, Kelly.
It was a wake-up call for the Bulldogs of Palisade. After being held to its lowest offensive output of the season of only 14 points, Palisade has gone on to light up the scoreboard with 93 points in its last 2 games. Tonight, a winless Montezuma Cortez limped into Stoker Stadium with the awaiting 4th-ranked Bulldogs licking their chops. And this game was all about Palisade tonight. It wasn't a great start for Palisade. They're driving early in the game here. Dustin Harris's pass is picked off by Ryan Weber, and that would thwart Palisade's first drive of the game. Now, after Cortez turnover on downs, the pitch to Kyle Britton. He goes 6 yards into the end zone for the score to put Palisade on top 7-0 early. Now in the second quarter, Cortez driving. Darren Wayman going back to throw, lofts it up, but finds Cody Nystrom at the 10-yard line, and he goes down the sidelines 90 yards into the end zone for the score on the long interception return as turnovers doom Montezuma Cortez on this evening. Now, after another Cortez turnover in the second half, Palisade hands it off to Cody Nystrom. He finds the end zone once again, put Palisade on top 27-0. They go on to roll over Montezuma Cortez by a final count of 34-0. Let's check in with Central.
Bulldogs entered their game kind of in uncharted waters. They, of course, were still heavy favorites to beat visiting Montezuma Cortez. Only this week, the Dogs wondered if they would have enough players to do that, being, as you'll see, 3 starters on the sideline, the infirmary, I like to call it now. Victor Green, Matt Popick. Oh, not in the game, and they're out for the season. It didn't really matter. They still have this guy, Kyle Britton. He's had a great year. 7-0 Dogs early up on the Panthers in a game they should handle. John Arledge calls his defense in. Basically, the defense responds. Tyler Barnes dusting a post with the sack, then Kyle Britton with the big hits. Still coming up, Mike Corangrado, Jim. The defense is going to play. Cody Nystrom has a big interception here for 94 yards and a touchdown. Palisade's got players that can play, and they certainly showed it here today, but they still have some players that are really good that are out.
Yeah, this is still a very talented football team, but right now it's just not a very deep football team. Losing Victor Green to the broken ankle certainly hurts them what they can do throwing the football. He's also a great player in terms of short yardage, carrying the ball from the fullback position. Losing Jason Popick hurts in the backfield as well. I mean, you're losing your top 2 fullbacks right there and your starting tight end, and just those 2 players. But Palisade with Kyle Britton, Dustin Harris, Mike Corangrado, I mean, just a lot of really good football players. They still have plenty of talent to win the conference. The question is, they can't, well, actually, not a question. It's a statement. They can't get anybody else hurt. They can't lose anybody else this year.
And that's exactly why right now Tyler Hedrick joins us live from our sports department. Tyler, you've got some Palisade Bulldogs with you, I believe, right there. We got to ask you a question. Right now, the Dogs are 7-1, but everyone seems to know, or they want to know, what the rest of the season has in store. Why don't you ask a couple of the guys right next to you?
That's exactly right. It could be a rough road coming up for them right now. We got Tyler Barnes on my left, Mike Bernal on my right, and they're both inside linebackers. You guys, right now you're 7-1. Things are looking good, but with the loss, with Green out and Popick out, are you guys in a vulnerable position right now at all?
With just Victor and Popick out, well, in a little bit in our running back area, because Victor was our fullback and he was a real good blocker and a good blocking tight end. And we're going to miss him for that because he's gone for the season. Popick had a lot of speed in his area, and I think we're going to miss him too.
Okay, because earlier this year, Frank talked to your head coach, Todd Casepier, and he said that you guys cannot afford to have any injuries this year. I don't know what your thoughts on that at all.
You know, we were just going into the football season hoping that no one would get hurt. We kept stretching and lifting and trying to stay healthy. I mean, they got hurt. There's nothing you can do about it. All you got to do is just put people in for their spots, and we're still all right. We'll be all right with it.
Okay, this week you guys got an off week. Next week you go to Delta, who's 1-6 right now. So obviously, it's looking like it could be a win. Setting up the big showdown though, at Moffat County to end the season. Right now, Moffat County is 3-0 in the conference. They're tops in the conference, but they still have to play Steamboat Springs. Are you guys looking ahead at all?
No, right now we're concentrated on Delta. When Moffat County comes, we'll work on them. We'll look at their plays and everything. We'll concentrate on their offense and what they run.
I don't think there's any worry about Moffat County yet. We just got to get through Delta. We got to hit it game by game and just do what we do, and we'll be fine.
Okay. Defensively, you guys really stepped it up this year. You had your second shutout of the season last week against Montezuma Cortez. Held them to, I think it was 185 yards total offense. Did you guys feel like you had to pick up the slack with the loss on offense the week before?
You know, definitely. On defense was the key thing that we missed against Rifle. Our defense didn't play the way we could. If it did, we could stop them. This year we had to pick it up, or this week we had to pick it up and stop them, because we knew we could.
Speaking of defense, I know he's not here, but I mean, Dustin Harris, huge hits all season for you guys. I mean, every week I could rely on him for a highlight out at games. What's with him? I mean, you're starting quarterback and he hits like no other.
I don't know. It's just like his mentality. He just wants to blow people up, and that's what he does. So.
Yeah, that's his mentality. He's tough and he's gonna bring it when he wants to, and when those hits come, and he'll hit them. He's not afraid of them.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler, Mike, Frank. Back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. I think still in 3A the team to beat, possibly one of the teams to beat Palisade. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Tyler. We're going to move on to a team that is also the only undefeated team in the Western Slope Conference. And Steamboat, who's lost to Palisade already, is at Moffat and at Battle Mountain. And then there's Palisade. They have, of course, the home game against Delta, and then they're at Moffat County. And then Rifle, who's not even out of it by any stretch as well, Jim. They're right there. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins this?
Right now, I would really have to think Moffat County in the driver's seat with that 4-0 conference record. They have home games against Steamboat and Palisade. You know, anything is possible. I don't want to say it's for Darryl Gorman, the Rifle Bears, probably a big, big long shot to win the conference. Palisade, though, still very much in the running for this with that pivotal game against Moffat County to end the season. But for Palisade, first things first, they have to take care of Delta and could make the Panthers season if they could get a win at Stoker City against Palisade on Thursday.
Something that, of course, we'll have to keep track of, and we'll show you on Thursday night, of course, and of course next Monday on this show. Now back to the highlights we go. For the next two games, we hit the road. Actually, our Darren
out to Stoker Stadium. Big D looking to beat Todd Casebeer and his Bulldogs. 3rd and goal from the 5 in the first quarter. Cody Nystrom up the middle for the touchdown. It's 8-0 for the Bulldogs. More Nystrom taking the handoff, turning the corner, turning on the Jets. He's off. Down the sideline he goes. 64 yards later, he's in for a touchdown. It's 16-0. Palisade, 1st and goal from the 5. Late in the first half, it's Dustin Harris finding, who else? Nystrom in the end zone, his 3rd touchdown of the half. It's 22-6 for the Bulldogs. On their first drive of the second half, it's 1st and goal from the 6. It's Harris calling his own number as he tucks it down and takes it in himself. The Bulldogs rumble and roll tonight. They win by a final of 43-14. And
quarterback snap it right to the tailback. Kyle Britton, 17 yards down at the 48. Later in the drive, 3rd and 5 from the 5. Cody Nystrom. I don't get to see his number, but trust me, he gets in there. 8-0 after the 2-point conversion. After a Delta 3 and out, Palisade moving again. It's Nystrom, this time longer, 23 yards. Dogs would turn it over, but I show that because it was one of many runs for Cody, and here's another good one. Number 2 gone. 64 yards, 16-0. At that point, Delta would try to get back into the game, and we got a show for our Southern fans, the Panthers. Brett Christie, check out this run. Tough. Resembling Mike Allstad, gets into the end zone. 16-6 at that point. Palisade runs away with it, though. Cody Nystrom will get his 3rd touchdown on this play. 43-14 your final score. After a Week 5 loss to Rifle, the Dogs are battling for the Western Slope Conference title.
Win or lose at Rifle, you still got to go to Moffat and beat them, or you're not league champs. So it turns out, because Rifle's lost a couple, that we're right back where we needed to be. So we can go to Moffat, and if we win, we're league champs.
Yeah, I think we're ready. We got a couple bumps and bruises, but we'll take care of those, and we'll be ready for Moffat County next week.
Races. The senior makes it all the way in for the touchdown, And Palisade goes for the 2-point conversion on the next play. Handoff to Kyle Britton. He barrels his way in, and it's 16-0 Bulldogs. Then Brett Christie, he fights his way in for a touchdown, and that cuts the lead to 10. But when the Bulldogs are driving again, when Dustin Harris puts it up for Tyler Barnes, but Curtis Englehart comes down with it for a Panther interception. They couldn't capitalize, and the Bulldogs get it back. Harris completes it to Nystrom this time, and Palisade leads 22-6 at the half. Second half, same story. Palisade driving, and Dustin Harris finds Kyle Britton for the first down. That sets up this play action bootleg, and Harris taking it himself. He's in for 6 untouched, and the Panthers barely touch the scoreboard. The Bulldogs win this one in a cakewalk, 43-6 the final score. They continue to steamroll their way with the #2 ranking in the state.
Does that number accurately tell you how remarkable this season has been for our team?
It's been a phenomenal season, and I think when you talk about the Central Warriors and the great start they got off to, I think Mesa State, certainly people expected them to be good. I think they're even a little better than Joe Romano had anticipated this year. Mesa State has played extremely well, and I really think that when you talk about this season as far as football in the Grand Valley, it's been a stellar year, no doubt, and we could have all 4 Grand Valley football teams playing in the playoffs this year.
We hope so, and that's where we're going to start right now because, of course, we do highlights better than anyone. We actually are the only one who do highlights on a Monday night, so we can't be worse than anyone. Anyways, we're going to start off with a team that we knew was going to be here at this time of the year, or at least we thought, Palisade Bulldogs. They were one of the teams trying to lock up their position this weekend heading into the Western Slope League last 2 weeks of the season. See, 3 teams were separated by 1 game in that conference. First place, Moffett County. They lost to Steamboat Springs on Friday night, so Palisade, who started the night in 3rd place, could have put themselves in position to win the conference as they hosted Delta. Freshman Jake Watt gets the start. Dustin Harris out with disciplinary reasons. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is when you snap the ball to this guy, Kyle Britton, all the way down to the 48-yard line. Later in the drive, 3rd and 5 from the 5. Cody Nystrom and Jim, you were there. Or actually, I don't know if you were there, but you did get a chance to see the game. Cody with a huge effort throughout the whole game. Another long run here. He gets a touchdown on the very next play. Doesn't matter who you put in that position. I think we say that every week, and he just seems to show up. Every time he shows up.
Interchangeable fullbacks for this football team. Cody Nystrom, who's playing wide receiver and defensive back, moves into the starting fullback position at 166 yards, 2 on the ground. Also caught a pass for a touchdown as well. Just had a great game at the fullback position. And, of course, the Palisade defense with Dustin Harris. Even though Delta gets the touchdown here, Dustin Harris still out knocking people around. He's back in the game at the quarterback spot. Rolls out to his right and throws long. Comes up with big completion.
Actually, that's the interception I had to show.
Sorry, I spoke a little too soon, but Delta gets the pick here.
But very next play is what you're talking about right here. Dustin Harris, his 2nd pass of the game, gets it right this time. Touchdown to Cody Nystrom, his 3rd of the game. Palisade goes on for the victory rather easily, scoreboard-wise, 43-14. Delta did play really well. But we got to talk about this week, Jim. We heard from, actually, let's hear from Todd Casebeer, because as we know now, Palisade puts themselves in the position to go to Moffett County, and if they win the conference title. Todd?
Well, first of all, I think we got out of the game healthy and we got the win. So it's the same thing we said a couple weeks ago. And we're playing for the league championship.
Yeah, I think we're ready. We got a couple bumps and bruises, but we'll take care of those and we'll be ready for Moffett County next week.
The biggest thing about the Rifle loss is win or lose at Rifle, you still got to go to Moffett and beat them or you're not league champs. So it turns out because Rifle's lost a couple that we're right back where we needed to be. So we can go to Moffett, and if we win, we're league champs.
Really a strange situation for Palisade. They could either be in the penthouse or the outhouse after Friday's game against Moffett County. With a win up in Craig, they could win the West Slope Conference title. A loss could put them anywhere from the 2nd spot, the 3rd spot, or the 4th spot. They take the top 3 out of the West Slope Conference into the 3A playoffs. Number 4 has you on the outside looking in, and certainly for Palisade, banged up, but did a great job plugging Cody Nystrom into the fullback position. Dustin Harris didn't get the start against Delta, but came on to play very well. We saw the touchdown pass to Cody Nystrom. So certainly this is a Palisade team that's beat up right now, but still has the big guys up front that are healthy. And this is a football team that I think feels like that the world's against them. It's that kind of us against the world type thing with all the injuries. And they have a chance, I think, to go up to Moffett County and pick up a win on Friday night. It's not going to be easy because Moffett County is always difficult at home. But for Palisade, despite the injury, still a chance for them to be a conference champion, even though they thought all was lost after the loss to Rifle earlier in the season.
We'll illustrate that perfectly, guys, if we have that. There is this week in the Western Slope Conference, you see who plays everybody else. Now, there are the tiebreakers on the bottom, could come into play. See, Steamboat has one working against them. They have one working for them. Rifle also has one working for them. They could get into this thing in the end. Speaking of Rifle, let's get them highlights in. Palisade Bulldogs have one more game remaining on their schedule. It doesn't get much simpler than this. Black and white, they got to win to win the Western Slope Conference title. Now, if they lose to Moffett County on Friday night, then the Dogs could finish 4th.
Well, essentially, you got to approach it like that. I mean, you got a chance. It changes your seed. You know, as you said earlier, you're a 1 or a 4. So, and the league title's on the line. So, that should be enough right there. I mean, we got a chance to win the league, which is all we could ask for. We lost the league game, and we're able to get back in the thing.
Your Sports Wire. Those are your playoff matchups. You saw the first one, Rifle at Palisade, and you're probably scratching your head saying, this is not back in September. What's going on? Well, here's what's going on. The Rifle Bears trying to finish as high as they could in the Western Slope Conference, hosting Glenwood on Friday night, opening drive for the Bears, 4th and 1. They're trying to punch it in, send a message as they head to the postseason, but Glenwood said, you know, you're not getting in that easily. Troy Weiss gets stretched out, turnover on downs, but the very next play, you can't have that happen. Glenwood safety. 2-0 Rifle. Rifle gets it back, and they go to work. Marcus carry on with some tough running. Picks up a Bears first down. They would hand it off to Troy Weiss after that, and he would cap the drive with a short touchdown run. 9-0 Bears in the first. We felt it was time to leave that game, and we were right. The final score, as you'll see it, 29-6. Rifle wins, and so the Bears finished 7-3 overall. What does that mean? Well, they also finished 4-2 in the Western Slope Conference. So where would you put them in terms of the playoff positioning? Well, if Palisade won on the road in Moffett County, you'd put the Bears in 4th because they'd get the wild card. But if Moffett won, the Palisade Bulldogs would get the wild card. That's a moot point anyways because Palisade wins the Western Slope Conference. Cody Nystrom, another huge game. Where was this kid earlier in the season? Why didn't they put him in there?
Played receiver and
yeah, I don't know. I'm just joking. Coach knows he had to have the injuries. Basically, though, the Dogs are in the playoffs. They are the #1 seed, and here's who they play. As we saw, well, it's the Rifle Bears, and now we bring in the Palisade Bulldogs. It's Cody Nystrom, the far guy on the end, who I was just pumping up right there, and then Matt Popik, of course, who's been playing every other position as well. You guys seem to switch off. Here we are in the postseason, first week. It's Rifle. Well, what do you guys think about that?
It's always good to go against someone that you lost against, and we're going to come in like that's just a regular game. We're going to come in with a little vengeance, though, and
really
play a little extra hard, though.
What do you talk about taking over the fullback spot? All of a sudden, you've emerged as a real star at the fullback position for Todd K. Spears' offense. You were playing receiver the last time you faced Rifle. Now you get a chance to carry the football against the Bears.
Yeah, we're gonna try to run the ball. We're gonna try to throw the ball. We're just gonna try to do everything that we can, and I'm just gonna try to step up and do my job. So.
Cody, this is the last time you guys played Rifle. That's probably you there. You guys want to continue with the video? That's probably you running the ball in the end zone this week now instead of Victor because, of course, he's out. What is different, though? What's going to have to be different for you guys to get a win this Friday night as opposed to what happened last time you guys played?
We're just going to have to work harder than what we did last time. We're going to have to fix the mistakes that we made, and we're going to have to go out and win the game. So.
Matt, one of the differences the last time we played Rifle was their ability to control the football, throwing the football. And I know you've made a lot of adjustments. You've faced some very good passing teams like Steamboat Springs since then. Talk about dealing with that passing game because Rifle can run it with Troy Weiss and company, but they can also throw it with Kyle Sanderson.
The biggest thing about Rifle is they got away with some big plays, and we need to come up and stop those plays. So this whole week we're going to just work on stopping the big plays and just making a knockdown, drag-out fight. It's just going to be down to the offensive and defensive lines.
That game that we just saw up there against Moffett County, you guys had the lead for a while, and then they took the lead again. What was it like up there in the snow? Was it kind of a gut check thing, to use one of those terms? Because you saw your season kind of teetering in the balance right there.
Your stomach was constantly dropping up and down. I mean, besides the cold factor, it was just the factor that we didn't know who was going to win. It was just who can control the ball, and we got away with some lucky plays.
You didn't want to go back up and play Steamboat, right? That was great motivation right there.
Definitely, it's nice to come away with the home game for the playoffs.
Definitely, and that's where these guys will be next week. Of course, they host Rifle. It's at Stoker Stadium, so if you have anything that you're going to do on Friday night, you got to cancel all your plans because, of course, these guys want you to be on their side of the field. They're the ones in maroon as they take on the Rifle Bears. Now, everyone from Rifle is going to come down here and watch that game as well, which is why we're going to have somebody from Rifle come on our show very much coming up right next. He is Damon Wells. He's the assistant coach of the Rifle Bears. We'll have him in the end zone after this. "42 tackles in one game, amazing." Welcome back to the end zone. We just heard from the Palisade Bulldogs. They, of course, will face Rifle on Friday night. Since Election Day is tomorrow, we decided it was only right to give the Bears equal time to respond. So now joining us on the telephone from Rifle High School, the team's defensive coordinator, Damon Wells. Thoughts and the thoughts of the whole Rifle coaching staff?
Well, we know Palisade's always a tough contest for us, but it's something we, you know, honestly, we were definitely excited to be in. And, you know, playing Palisade kind of takes away the nervousness playoff aspect of it because instead of being a first round of the playoffs, it's just a good old-fashioned backyard brawl, and we can't wait.
Damon, when you face Palisade for the second time coming up in this playoff game on Saturday, a little bit different football team. Victor Green out with the broken ankle. Cody Nystrom's now in at fullback. What are some of the changes you've seen that Palisade has made that's made them a different football team than the one that you played in September?
Well, Palisade always does a lot of the right things. They have a fantastic coaching staff and just some great hard-nosed kids. And, you know, with Palisade, it doesn't seem to be a matter of doing – they're not one of the teams that are going to change their offense or their defense from week to week. They're going to do what they do well, and you know, whoever executes the most plays is going to be who wins the game Friday night.
Coach, speak about something real quick. The effort of your kids these last couple of weeks. You guys were kind of backs to the wall because you didn't know where you were going to go in the playoffs. Just your kids seemed to keep winning when they needed to. Talk a little about that effort.
I tell you, we have fantastic kids. Our kids, ever since the summer, has done anything and everything we've asked them to do, and we talk about it as a coaching staff how they impress us on a very regular basis with their ability to rise to the occasion and their willingness to play just nose to the grindstone and play hard when we need them to.
Damon, it's going to be a short road trip for your football team down to Grand Junction to play at Stoker Stadium. Really, you know, with Palisade playing at home, certainly an advantage for them, but not as big of an advantage as one might normally think because it is a short trip. Plus, you face Palisade, so you know what to expect. So, kind of an interesting first-round matchup for your ball club.
We're definitely looking forward to the trip, but we feel kind of fortunate with our position in the playoffs. True, we do have a shorter trip. We don't have to go all the way across the state to Berthoud, and hopefully, cross your fingers, but if you guys can do something about it for us, we definitely appreciate it. Hopefully it'll be warm as well. We saw the Moffett County Palisade game, and we're certainly not looking forward to anything like that in Grand Junction.
Yeah, I hope so, too, because I'm going to have to be out there on Friday night, Coach. Coach, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck this Friday. We'll see you out there at Stoker Stadium, and good luck against the Palisade Bulldogs.
Hey, thanks both of you guys.
Thank you very much, Coach. Right now it's time to check out the trio stats. The regular season's over. Who won the whole thing? Of course, the boy wonder did. Jimmy Leeson, congratulations. This week's lock, sorry to say Coach Wells and Coach Gorham, but Jimmy is, of course, a Palisade alum, so he picked the Bulldogs. Take it for what it's worth. But anyways, I didn't want to go with the other picks because everyone picked the home teams. They're all homers here. Yeah. So if you're a home team, you got the trio's good fortunes on your side, or if you don't even like the trio, then maybe it's their bad fortunes. But anyways, it's break time here. That's who the trio, that's how they did this year. We'll be right back in the end. Well, you can return kicks. You can also catch passes, even when they're not in. Football teams are in the playoffs, and things get started this Friday night with Rifle and Palisade. And that's when we'll get started as well at 10 p.m. Expect highlights and post-game from Stoker. We'll also have the same on Saturday afternoon when Grand Junction hosts Pueblo Centennial. Tyler Hedrick will also have score updates from Fruita Monument at Greeley West and Central at Pueblo South. But back to Friday night's game when the Dogs of Palisade host their rivals from the north, the Rifle Bears. It will be the second meeting of the year for these teams. Of course, Rifle defeated Palisade 35-14 earlier this year. But as both teams would say, that was then. This is playoffs.
I think we're better than we were at the beginning of the year. I think Rifle's better. I think it's going to be a great match.
You know, playing Palisade kind of takes away the nervousness playoff aspect of it because instead of being a first round of the playoffs, it's just a good old-fashioned backyard brawl, and we can't wait.
It's the only team that we've lost to this year and for the last few years, but it's also really made me happy because we're going to get them. We're not going to let this one go. This is to continue to go on and make it back to that state game.
The most intriguing game of the week.
To the playoffs as West Slope League champions. With just one loss this year, the Bulldogs are extra excited about getting to avenge that loss. Rifle Palisade has become one of the best football rivalries on the Western Slope. The Bears have beaten the Bulldogs 3 straight times, and Palisade feels that's enough. This year's game, Rifle saw the Bears upset then top-ranked Bulldogs 35-14. Bulldogs are glad to have another shot at those Bears.
Well, I talked to the kids about second chances, and we had a second chance at the league title and got it, and we got a second chance at Rifle, and we'll see what happens.
It's great first round to play a rival. Definitely great to play them, but it's even better that because we haven't beat them. So, but we do know how they play, so we're just going to come out harder and just work extra hard because they're a rival. So it's going to be a good game.
Can't beat playoff football starts here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Stoker Stadium, and anyone who's seen Rifle and Palisade play the past 4 years knows this is going to be a dandy.
Bulldogs, well, we've got the championship ball here signed by all the players, and they'll be auctioning this off at Stoker Stadium at halftime of the game. It's just going to be a live auction. The highest bidder will get it, and the money will go, of course, to the football program.
That sounds fantastic. That game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Stoker Stadium.
And Rick Thurtle threw his autograph on here to up the value.
He didn't.
Resisting.
And by the way, from everyone at 11 News Colorado, as we head into this weekend, all 4 Grand Valley teams are in the playoffs. We'll wish them all the best of luck, and let's have all of them alive next week. We're going to wrap things up on this edition of 11.
Have arrived, and they kicked off with a bang tonight. A matchup of West Slope rivals. It's Rifle taking the trip down to 70 to visit their foes from the south. Palisade picked things up in the first quarter. Bulldogs opening drive, first and goal. Cody Nystrom makes it 7-0. Maroon Dogs up. Rifle's first drive. Now Bears going for it on 4th and 2. Kyle Sanderson looking for J.R. Childress, and that's not the way it's supposed to happen. Alex Swanson gone. Touchdown, 14-0, 61 yards. Dogs smell blood in the water. Kyle Britton takes the pitch 22 yards later. It's 21-0. So completely opposite about what happened back in September up in Rifle. Still in the second, Rifle trying to mount a comeback. Troy Weiss, this kid is a beast, folks. He can play the game. Takes it all the way down to the 1-yard line. He had a fantastic game for the Bears, and the reward, of course, goes to Weiss. 21-7 at half. Third quarter now, Swanson gets the hand up on the end around, and he is off to the races. 28-7, Palisade with the lead. 64 yards on that play. 120 yards of total offense and, I guess, defense, you could say, for Alex Swanson up to that point. Same quarter, 3rd and 9. Check out the effort by Dustin Harris. That's why Palisade's advancing, folks. Take it down to inside the Bears' 10. Same drive. Swanson, of course, gets his 3rd touchdown of the game. Final score in this one, 34-15. The Dogs reverse it on Rifle, and they are off to the second round.
Well, first of all, we played better. I mean, we didn't play well the first time we played them, and we had them at home. But more important than that, I just thought our kids, they brought the hat tonight. They played the way they could, and they worked hard in practice. And I just thought they want a little redemption from the way we played up there last time.
Our kids came out hard, and, they did the best job they could tonight. I couldn't be more proud of our kids and the season that they had, but hats goes off to Palisade. They played really hard tonight, and they got the job done.
I don't know. That first game, like Coach said, we didn't come out at all. We were really pumped, but they had an answer for us, and we didn't do good. This game, we just knew what we needed to do, and we stepped it up. Our lines on both sides, and then all the guys that make big plays, the running backs and all those guys, they just stepped it up.
On the sideline into the end zone for the touchdown, and Palisade took a 21-0 lead. But Rifle would come storming back and would wake up in the second quarter. Troy Weiss taking the handoff here, and he's off to the races, and he would have scored but for this Dustin Harris tackle on the 2-yard line. Nonetheless, Rifle would score 2 plays later to make the score 21-7. First drive of the second half, 4th down, Rifle driving. They need a first down desperately here, but Dustin Harris with the tackle of Marcus Carrion would stop the Rifle drive. So just 2 plays later, as that play would turn out to be a momentum killer, Palisade running the end around. They give the ball to Alex Swanson. He gets a nice block, and he's gone. 62 yards for the touchdown. One of 3 touchdowns on the night for Swanson. Palisade led 28-7. They cruise in this one, 34-15. Palisade advances now to the round of 8 in the 3.
Time now. I am Frank Martin, as usual. Jim Davis joins me to my left. He's, of course, the voice of the team. Sports Talk 1340. Jim, I got to ask you, what a week it was. The first round of the playoffs, it lived up to the billing. At least I thought. It was a very good week, all in all.
Yeah, as far as we know, first time ever that we had all 4 teams participating in the playoffs. We have 3 of them advancing to the quarterfinal round, and certainly a great weekend of football. Palisade gets their revenge against Rifle. Grand Junction plays Pueblo Centennial for the second time, and for the Tigers, a very good first quarter. A little slow in the second quarter, but a strong second half. And, of course, Fruita goes on the road to get an impressive victory at Greeley West. Central Warriors, great early start, but unfortunately, Pueblo South too much in the second half of the Warriors. Still a great season, though, for Vern McGee and Central.
What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about all of those games, so that means we have 4 games to get to. We do have highlights from over the mountain and all these away games. Plus, we have Mesa State Mavericks. They are in studio. They're going to join us a little bit later. They've got a little news to talk about, I think, that RMAC championship. Yeah. We'll talk to them about that, but let's get started with what we want to do, the highlights. Start for the Bulldogs, 7-0 after Cody Nystrom scores a touchdown run, and then, terrible start for Rifle. Kyle Sanderson gets injured. We don't know if it was on this play, but Alex Swanson, very healthy looking, run down the sideline, 14-0, just like that. Completely different, Jim, from the time we were up in Rifle earlier in the season. Just a completely different game.
That's right. I mean, the first drive Palisade had, they scored. I mean, the first time around, Palisade was stopped in that 4th down and goal at the 1. This time, they put it in, grabbed the early lead, and really built the momentum from the first quarter on.
Troy Weiss, 30 carries in this game, and he is a beast, folks. What a great football player. Hope you got a chance to see him. He gets it down to the 6 and then takes it in for 6, 21-7 at that point. But in the third quarter, Alex Swanson touched the ball 3 times on offense, scored twice. He touched it 4 times in the game, scored 3 times with that interception return. That one, 64 yards. This one, not pretty if you're a Rifle fan, but it is very pretty as the final score, 34-15. Palisade advances on to the second round, where they'll face Fountain Fort Carson, a very good team in the second round, Jim.
That's right. They have Bucky Poor, who's their leading rusher, 1,665 yards. Jared Ermel, who is also the leading receiver, 893 yards on the season. They can run it. They can throw it. This is going to be a very difficult test for the Palisade Bulldogs, but certainly getting that monkey off their back, beating Rifle in the first round of the playoffs and exacting some revenge, a big emotional lift for Palisade. And we're seeing so many different guys getting the job done. I mean, Alex Swanson with 3 touchdowns. And, of course, we've seen what Cody Nystrom's been able to do, stepping into that fullback spot. And, you know, here's Kyle Britton playing with a broken hand. I mean, this has been a very gritty Palisade football team that's doing very well right now.
After the game, we spoke to the Bulldogs just to find out how big the win was.
We're ready to go. We made it, to the state game last year, so we know what we need to do to keep moving in the playoffs. And I think we're just going to come out and practice hard like we always do and be ready for whoever we play on Friday or Saturday.
It feels great. Obviously, the only team that beat us, we were hoping that we could play in the playoffs, and we got to, and we got it done.
You know, Palisade played really well tonight, and our kids came out hard, and, you know, they did the best job they could tonight. I couldn't be more proud of our kids and the season that they had, but hats goes off to Palisade. You know, they played really hard tonight, and they got the job done.
You know, first of all, we played better. I mean, we didn't play well the first time we played them, and we had them at home. But more important than that, I just thought our kids, you know, they brought the hat tonight. They played the way they could, and they worked hard in practice. And I just thought they want a little redemption from the way we played up there last time.
The rest of the Western Slope kind of looks like this. That's the school you want to watch out for, Fountain Fort Carson. They're coming in, of course, this weekend to take on Palisade. Moffett County gets by Berthoud, who I thought maybe should have been Palisade's first round game, but I was alone in that. And Steamboat survives a close one against Sterling. We'll be right back after this. This is the best this week. Dustin Harris, look at this. You can't take him down. Oh, sheer will as he runs it inside the 5. Quincy Walfer with that catch, one-handed. Nice, and he puts it up in the air so the officials can see it. Then, same game, got to give it to the short guys. I'm one of them. Trent Gertman.
Big man.
Vertically challenged, baby. We love it. INT seals the victory for the Tigers. And then, the hit of the week. Justin Murray laying the wood on Marcus Emilio. Oh, nice. And then how about this? Tyler Hedrick getting the wood laid on him by Jesse Stapleton. Those are your best plays of the week. Jim, I got to ask you, we've got 3 games in terms of our local teams. Maybe the most interesting one? Which one do you think?
You know, I think, you know, certainly all 3 have different aspects. I have to go change my mind from Junction and Thunder Ridge to maybe this Ralston Valley Fruita Monument game. Number 2 team in the state in Ralston Valley. Fruita lost last time, and certainly I think we expected these 2 teams to hook up again in the postseason. we're getting exactly what we thought we would get with these two facing each other on Saturday.
Now we also have a little bit of time, so talk
down, 3 to go, possible state title. It's that simple.
And it's where experience comes into play again. We know that these Bulldogs do have experience making it to the title game last year, and they've got their sights set on that state championship, though, this year. I don't think they'll settle for anything less. Well, the Bulldogs didn't have to wait long to get revenge on Rifle, the only team to beat them during the season. When the two teams met in the first week of the playoffs, the Bulldogs were dominant. And now Palisade is trying to keep that momentum from the big win alive as they stay at home for the second round of the playoffs. Palisade controlled every aspect of the game against Rifle last week, but head coach Todd Casebeer says the team should have capitalized in the red zone better. But kicking the Bears out of the playoffs gave the Bulldogs extra energy heading into this week's game against Fountain Fort Carson. Bulldogs say it's helpful to stay at home, and they'll need to take full advantage of the situation because the Trojans are fast and athletic, but Palisade knows it can keep up.
Yeah, we think we do match up with them. We're just going to have to take care of the ball, the same playoff stuff that everybody tries to do, but we have to control the ball. They're very good on offense, and we need to try to keep it away from them. We need to finish. We can't turn the ball over, keep them from getting big plays.
In order for us to win this game, I think we're going to have to tackle well, wrap up when we hit the person. Because these guys, like coaches said, they are fast and they're good. They're not going to be tackled by one person.
And that playoff game is this Saturday at Stoker Stadium. Game time is set for 3 o'clock following the Fruita and Ralston Valley game.
1,000-yard rusher, a receiver with 47 catches, and his quarterback who's thrown 22 touchdowns. Yeah, I know, scary numbers for some, but not defensive coordinator John Arledge.
I mean, you got a classic game with a bunch of kids who are fast and overall bigger versus a bunch of scrappy little kids that are tough that want to hit you in the face. I'll probably take the toughness over the fast any day. It's great to have both, but I like our chances.
The Bulldogs came 7 points from a state title. This season, despite multiple injuries to key players, the Bulldogs have run their way to the second round of the playoffs. John Franke has the story.
The Palisade Bulldogs won't dazzle fans with a sparkling aerial attack. Instead, the team focuses on keeping the ball on the ground. Palisade's on a 6-game win streak and is running right towards the state title.
This time of year, it's all about finding a way to win, and I think our kids are excited about playing at home again, and I think we're playing our best football.
Kyle Britton leads the Bulldog backfield, averaging more than 100 yards per game, but doesn't take all the credit for his impressive numbers.
Great performance. I owe it all to my offensive line. Best line in the state. Big guys, everybody's fired up, and as long as they do their job, it allows me to do what I do.
The O-linemen arguably have the most important task in this offensive scheme. And while they don't get the glory that comes with scoring touchdowns, this overpowering line wouldn't want any other job.
Sometimes it's pretty tough. I mean, we get pretty beat up and cut up and stuff, but I think it's worth it being down there. I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything.
The line's hard work each week doesn't go unnoticed by the coaching staff.
The offensive line has been getting the job done. We've had 4 different running backs with right at 500 yards or more, so the line's doing a great job, and I think the scheme's good. We put our kids in a position where they can get the job done, but and all the kids we've been putting there have got the job done.
Saturday, the Bulldogs will look to advance to the state semifinals, and if they get there, you can bet the offensive line made the opposition look foolish once again. John Franke, News 5 Sports.
Bulldogs get to play their second straight home playoff game this week in what should be a dandy. They're the second-ranked team in the state, taking on third-ranked Fountain Fort Carson. Game 2 of a doubleheader at Stoker Stadium Saturday, 3 o'clock. Tune into News 5 for the highlights. Mesa State
Hey, Mesa State just ending the regular season today, so they're in the playoffs, plus our big 3 schools here. We got Grand Junction, Fruita, and Palisade all in.
Wow.
We got highlights of all those 3. But first, we're going to start with the playoff action this afternoon at Stoker. That's the second part of the doubleheader. The Dogs wearing maroon against Fountain Fort Carson. Palisade moving in the first. That's Kyle Britton with the halfback toss. Breaks some tackles. He's in from 17 yards. PAT failed. Palisade leads 6-0. But Fort Carson in Bulldog territory in the second. Bucky Poirier takes it to the corner. He'll edge in for the score. The conversion fails. Tie game at 6. A Bulldog field goal makes it 9-6 at the half. Then it's Ryan Walker to air it out in the third. Jared Ermel makes the 40-yard catch and touchdown. Carson takes the 12-9 lead. Palisade right back in their face. Cody Nardstrom this time gets the toss in the flats. He's coasting up the sidelines. 35 yards for the Palisade touchdown.
Ball, and it would be a back-and-forth battle all day, folks. Ryan Walker looking for a receiver. Dustin Harris. Big hit. He's been doing it all season. He plays quarterback, too. Second quarter, Bucky Poirier takes it in for the Fountain Fort Carson score. 6-all. Same quarter, 26-yard field goal is up and good by Lane Wilson. 9-6, Palisade. Still in the second, though. Walker looking deep and looking for Gerard or Mel. And remember that name because it's going to come up again. 61 yards on the touchdown. Extra point, no good. Again, 12-9 Trojans. Now in the third play action, Dustin Harris to Kyle Britton. Britton makes a nice catch on the sideline. Keeping the drive alive, and Harris sets up the screen then to Cody Nystrom and gets a couple of blocks, makes a move, and is gone. 16-12 Bulldogs at that point. And at the end of the third, Trojans, though, they come right back. Fletcher to the corner. I told you, it's Ermel again. 2-point would be good as well to put the Trojans up 20-16, but those Bulldogs, they don't die. Fourth quarter, Harris rolls and finds Alex Swanson from 34 out. Bulldogs back up 22-20. Defensive coordinator John Arledge getting the D ready for one last stand with the score. With the score 22-20, Trojans trying to take the lead, and B.J. McKinnon, the field goal attempt. It's no good. Palisade holds on to win today, 22-20. They'll move on to the semifinals at number 1 Mountain View in Loveland this Saturday. Also at home today, it's Fruta.
It is football time, everybody. Welcome back inside the end zone. I am Frank Martin, as usual. To my left, the voice of the team Sports Talk 1340, Jim Davis. He is the guru of prep football in this area. Week 2 of the playoffs has come and gone. We still have 2 prep football teams alive, and alas, we have a college team now alive in the playoffs. Jim, what a great time to be a football fan.
Oh, fantastic time to be a football fan right now, Frank, in the Grand Valley with Mesa State, of course, playing their first home game ever in the Division II playoffs against Central Oklahoma. And, of course, Fruita Monument in the semifinals once again. They become a fixture in the semifinals as Bill Moore and the Wildcats, and they'll take on a very good Pueblo South team. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. But also the Palisade Bulldogs. Gutty performance coming back, trailing in the fourth quarter to beat Fountain Fort Carson. They get Mountain View. And for the Grand Junction Tigers, special teams can mean everything in a football game. We talk about the 3 facets, offense, defense, and special teams. Unfortunately for the Tigers, the special teams hurt them on Saturday. That's why they're not playing Loveland in the semifinals.
We've got a lot to get to, and we have to do it all right before that kickoff for Monday Night Football, so let's get started. Arguably, Palisade had the hardest draw, I think, in 3A bracket after opening the playoffs with a win over their rival, Rifle. The Dogs had to play host to a 2002 semifinalist in Fountain Fort Carson. We go to the highlights now from Saturday. The rain stayed away just long enough. First quarter, Kyle Britton didn't stay away. Gets the handoff, breaks a tackle, in for 6-0 Bulldogs. Same quarter, Trojans of Fountain Fort Carson with the ball. Ryan Walker starts a great day. Dustin Harris, well, this is the start of the first. Wow. It just set the tone for the Palisade Bulldogs, set the tone for Fountain Fort Carson. They would hang in there. Bucky Poirier takes it in. Fountain Fort Carson unfazed early. We're tied at 6. Same quarter now. 26-yard field goal by Lane Wilson. Up. It is good. Take note of that. One of only small handful of kicks made by the Grand Valley this weekend, but that one keeps Palisade in the game. 12-9 Trojans after this 61-yard touchdown reception. Jared Ermel on the receiving list of that. Now it's third play action for Dustin Harris, finds Kyle Britton. They go deep. Check out the catch. Nice play by Britton right there. Same drive now. It's the screen pass, not right, but left. Cody Nystrom, couple of blocks. He is in the end zone. 16-12. Bulldogs retake the lead. End of the third, Trojans would come back. Fletcher to the corner. Ermel again. 2-point would be good. 20-16. Trojans have the lead. Fourth quarter now. Dustin Harris rolls out, finds Alex Swanson. 3 different guys scored touchdowns in this game. This was the last. 22-20. The Bulldogs back up. Time for defensive coordinator John Arledge to do his thing. Gets the D ready for one last stand. 4th and goal. Fountain Fort Carson surprises me. Surprised Cody Nystrom. They went for the field goal. No good. 22-20 your score at that point. Dogs just got to kneel on it after they get 2 first downs. Palisade into the semifinals against Mountain View, another top-ranked team. But your thoughts on the game, Jim?
Well, I think once again it shows where watching film can be invaluable. Todd Kaster talked about at the end of the game. They knew that Fountain Fort Carson's kicking game was extremely suspect. that played a big factor, a huge factor in this football game. And I just had a feeling that Dustin Harris was going to have a nice day throwing the football against this defense. Ended up, he threw for 2 touchdowns on the day. And Kyle Britton continues to be impressive playing with that broken hand. And how about Alex Swanson the last 2 weeks? He's really turned
Big
around.
Play.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns against Rifle in the first game of the playoffs, and of course had a great performance Saturday against the Trojans.
We'll talk about Alex Swanson. We'll talk about the rest of the Bulldogs, because now joining us in studio is one of the assistant coaches, Brian Rush, and of course tight end Mason Stauffer from this Palisade team, back in the semifinals, coach, and back against another top team, Mountain View. Your thoughts on getting this far so far?
Well, you know, we're real excited to be where we're at. Mountain View, like you mentioned before, they are ranked #1 right now. They're 12-0. Their offense, you know, it's not a real complex offense. They run the robust. They don't throw a lot, but what they do, they do extremely well. And if you make any mistakes, they definitely counter on it. So, I mean, we're excited about going there. We feel our chances are good if we play well, but on the, you know, I'm sure Mountain View feels the same way. So, like I said, you're always excited to get to the semifinals. Last year we made it to the finals, and that's our goal, is to get back there this year. But obviously we have a big step this weekend before we get there.
Mason, this Palisade football team is getting used to playing close football games. You win a tough one, a close one at Moffat County to win the conference championship, and now in the second round of the quarterfinals you win a very tough nail-biter like football game against a very good Fountain Fort Carson team.
Yeah, we're from here on out, we know we're going to be in close games. It's 4 great teams left, and they're all going to come down to the wire. So,
hey, Mason, aside from Steamboat, who you guys have seen, of the teams that are still alive, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean it as a knock, but you guys don't have the speed, you don't have the size, especially last week against Fountain Fort Carson, and some people would say you don't even have the strength. But it seems like every single week you're the best team on the football field. How does that happen? How does that all happen for this Palisade team? How does it happen consistently?
it's just heart. I mean, Fountain Fort Carson was a bigger, faster, pretty much stronger team, but we had the heart that day, and it came out on top for us. So.
Last week, Brian, this Mountain View football team played very well defensively against Corey Sperry, and that Pueblo Central football team held them 99 yards on the ground, and that says a lot because that's a pretty good football team in Pueblo Central.
Yeah, Pueblo is a real good team. You know, we faced them earlier this year. We faced them first week, and obviously they improved quite a bit from there. But, you know, we feel real good about our running game and with our passing game to going in the way it has been. You know, Todd Casebear, I know, will put together a great offensive plan, and same with John Arledge as far as defense. So we know if we show up and we can execute the way we should, then it's going to go right down to the wire. And one plus for that is we've had a few close games where Mountain View hasn't been involved in anything within 14 points. So I feel if we can have it close down to the end, I think we have a good chance to get it.
Well, he gave you not a guarantee, but a good chance. And that's the basic thing with Palisade, people, is they're going to be in every game. And I wouldn't even put it past us having you guys back on the show next week. Good luck, of course, in your game against Mountain View this weekend. They, of course, got to travel on the road. When we come back after this break, we're going to look at more highlights. The Fruita Wildcats played, Grand Junction played, and we'll even check in on Mesa State. Your greatest hits of the year. Tyler Hedrick put them together. We hope you enjoy them.
Off action this afternoon at Stoker. That's the second part of the doubleheader. The Dogs wearing maroon against Fountain Ford Carson. Palisade moving in the first. That's Kyle Britton with the halfback toss. Breaks some tackles. He's in from 17 yards. PAT failed. Palisade leads 6-0. But Ford Carson in Bulldog territory in the second. Bucky Poirier takes it to the corner. He'll edge in for the score. The conversion fails. Tie game at 6. A Bulldog field goal makes it 9-6 at the half. Then it's Ryan Walker to air it out in the third. Jared Ermel makes the 40-yard catch and touchdown. Carson takes the 12-9 lead. Palisade right back in their face. Cody Nordstrom this time gets the toss in the flats. He's coasting up the sidelines. 35 yards for the Palisade touchdown.
Ball, and it would be a back-and-forth battle all day, folks. Ryan Walker looking for a receiver. Dustin Harris. Big hit. He's been doing it all season. He plays quarterback, too. Second quarter, Bucky Poirier takes it in for the Fountain Ford Carson score. 6-all. Same quarter. 26-yard field goal is up and good by Lane Wilson. 9-6, Palisade. Still in the second, though. Walker looking deep and looking for Gerard Ermel. And remember that name because it's going to come up again. 61 yards on the touchdown. Extra point, no good. Again, 12-9 Trojans. Now in the third play action, Dustin Harris to Kyle Britton. Britton makes a nice catch on the sideline. Keeping the drive alive, and Harris sets up the screen then to Cody Nystrom. Gets a couple of blocks, makes a move, and is gone. 16-12 Bulldogs at that point. And at the end of the third, Trojans, though, they come right back. Fletcher to the corner. I told you, it's Ermel again. 2-point would be good as well to put the Trojans up 20-16, but those Bulldogs, they don't die. Fourth quarter, Harris rolls and finds Alex Swanson from 34 out. Bulldogs back up 22-20. Defensive coordinator John Arledge getting the D ready for one last stand with the score. With the score 22-20, Trojans trying to take the lead, and B.J. McKinnon, the field goal attempt. It's no good. Palisade holds on to win today, 22-20. They'll move on to the semifinals at number 1 Mountain View in Loveland this Saturday.
Also, everybody, welcome back inside the end zone. I am Frank Martin, as usual. To my left, the voice of the Team Sports Talk 1340, Jim Davis. He is the guru of prep football in this area. Week 2 of the playoffs has come and gone. We still have 2 prep football teams alive, and alas, we have a college team now alive in the playoffs. Jim, what a great time to be a football fan.
Oh, fantastic time to be a football fan right now, Frank, in the Grand Valley with Mesa State, of course, playing their first home game ever in the Division II playoffs against Central Oklahoma. And, of course, Fruita Monument in the semifinals once again. They become a fixture in the semifinals as Bill Moore and the Wildcats, and they'll take on a very good Pueblo South team. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. But also the Palisade Bulldogs. Gutty performance coming back, trailing in the fourth quarter to beat Fountain Ford Carson. They get Mountain View. And for the Grand Junction Tigers, special teams can mean everything in a football game. We talk about the 3 facets, offense, defense, and special teams. Unfortunately for the Tigers, the special teams hurt them on Saturday. That's why they're not playing Loveland in the semifinals.
We've got a lot to get to, and we have to do it all right before that kickoff for Monday Night Football, so let's get started. Arguably, Palisade had the hardest draw, I think, in 3A bracket after opening the playoffs with a win over their rival, Rifle. The Dogs had to play host to a 2002 semifinalist in Fountain Fort Carson. We go to the highlights now from Saturday. The rain stayed away just long enough. First quarter, Kyle Britton didn't stay away. Gets the handoff, breaks a tackle, in for 6-0 Bulldogs. Same quarter, Trojans of Fountain Fort Carson with the ball. Ryan Walker starts a great day. Dustin Harris, well, this is the start of the first. Wow. It just set the tone for the Palisade Bulldogs, set the tone for Fountain Fort Carson. They would hang in there. Bucky Poirier takes it in. Fountain Fort Carson unfazed early. We're tied at 6. Same quarter now. 26-yard field goal by Lane Wilson. Up. It is good. Take note of that. One of only small handful of kicks made by the Grand Valley this weekend, but that one keeps Palisade in the game. 12-9 Trojans after this 61-yard touchdown reception. Jared Ermel on the receiving list of that. Now it's third play action for Dustin Harris, finds Kyle Britton. They go deep. Check out the catch. Nice play by Britton right there. Same drive now. It's the screen pass, not right, but left. Cody Nystrom, couple of blocks. He is in the end zone. 16-12. Bulldogs retake the lead. End of the third, Trojans would come back. Fletcher to the corner. Ermel again, 2-point would be good. 20-16, Trojans have the lead. Fourth quarter now. Dustin Harris rolls out, finds Alex Swanson. 3 different guys scored touchdowns in this game. This was the last, 22-20. The Bulldogs back up. Time for defensive coordinator John Arledge to do his thing. Gets the D ready for one last stand. 4th and goal. Found for Carson. Surprises me. Surprised Cody Nystrom. They went for the field goal. No good. 22-20 your score at that point. Dogs just got to kneel on it after they get 2 first downs. Palisade into the semifinals against Mountain View, another top-ranked team. But your thoughts on the game, Jim?
Well, I think once again it shows where watching film can be invaluable. Todd Caster talked about at the end of the game. They knew that Fountain Fort Carson's kicking game was extremely suspect. That played a big factor, a huge factor in this football game. And I just had a feeling that Dustin Harris is going to have a nice day throwing the football against this defense. Ended up, he threw for 2 touchdowns on the day. And Kyle Britton continues to be impressive playing with that broken hand. And how about Alex Swanson the last 2 weeks? He's really turned
Big
around.
Play.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns against Rifle in the first game of the playoffs. And, of course, had a great performance Saturday against the Trojans.
We'll talk about Alex Swanson. We'll talk about the rest of the Bulldogs because now joining us in studio is one of the assistant coaches, Brian Rush, and, of course, tight end Mason Stauffer from this Palisade team. Back in the semifinals, Coach, and back against another top team, Mountain View. Your thoughts on getting this far so far?
Well, you know, we're real excited to be where we're at. Mountain View, like you mentioned before, they are ranked #1. Right now they're 12-0. Their offense, you know, it's not a real complex offense. They run the robust. They don't throw a lot, but what they do, they do extremely well. And if you make any mistakes, they definitely counter on it. So, I mean, we're excited about going there. We feel our chances are good if we play well, but I'm sure Mountain View feels the same way. So, but like I said, you're always excited to get to the semifinals. Last year we made it to the finals, and that's our goal, is to get back there this year. But obviously we have a big step this weekend before we get there.
Mason, this Palisade football team is getting used to playing close football games. You win a tough one, a close one at Moffett County to win the conference championship. And now in the second round of the quarterfinals, you win a very tough nail-biter like football game against a very good Fountain Fort Carson team.
Yeah, we're from here on out, we know we're going to be in close games. It's 4 great teams left, and they're all going to come down to the wire. So,
hey, Mason, aside from Steamboat, who you guys have seen, of the teams that are still alive, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean it as a knock, but you guys don't have the speed, you don't have the size, especially last week against Fountain Fort Carson, and some people would say you don't even have the strength. But it seems like every single week you're the best team on the football field. How does that happen? How does that all happen for this Palisade team? How does it happen consistently?
it's just heart. I mean, Fountain Fort Carson was a bigger, faster, pretty much stronger team, but we had the heart that day, and it came out on top for us. So.
Last week, Brian, this Mountain View football team played very well defensively against Corey Sperry, and that Pueblo Central football team held them 99 yards in the ground, and that says a lot because that's a pretty good football team in Pueblo Central.
Yeah, Pueblo is a real good team. You know, we faced them earlier this year. We faced them first week, and obviously they improved quite a bit from there. But, you know, we feel real good about our running game and with our passing game going in the way it has been. You know, Todd Casebear, I know, will put together a great offensive plan, and same with John Arledge as far as defense. So we know if we show up and we can execute the way we should, then it's going to go right down to the wire. And one plus for that is we've had a few close games where Mountain View hasn't been involved in anything within 14 points. So I feel if we can have it close down to the end, I think we have a good chance to get it.
Well, he gave you not a guarantee, but a good chance. And that's the basic thing with Palisade, people, is they're going to be in every game. And I wouldn't even put it past us having you guys back on the show next week. Good luck, of course, in your game against Mountain View this weekend. They, of course, got to travel on the road. When we come back after this break, we're going to look at more highlights. The Fruita Wildcats played, Grand Junction played, and we'll even check in on Mesa State. Your greatest hits of the year. Tyler Hedrick put them together. We hope you enjoy them. It's been a fun season. We got 2 more big games left. What are you guys doing on the radio?
Saturday, 2 o'clock, actually 1:30 our pregame on Team Sports Talk 1340 and 1400, Palisade at Mountain View. And then 7 o'clock on 1340 and 1400, Fruita Monument taking on Pueblo South.
They'll have the sounds and the plays. We'll have the highlights when we come back next week. Thank you to all of our guests. Thanks for watching, everyone. For Jim Davis, I'm Frank Martin. Thanks to Tyler Hedrick. Enjoy tonight's game, and we will see you around this weekend.
That was on Fruita's home turf. Now it's Palisade's turn as the Bulldogs face Mountain View High School, but Palisade will have to hand the Mountain Lions their first loss in Loveland. Palisade had the luxury of staying at Stoker Stadium for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and even when they were outsized by Fountain Fort Carson last week, the Bulldogs squeaked out a win. As they face top-ranked team this week, head coach Todd Caspear says he likes the Bulldogs' chances. Says the Lions are strong in all phases of the game, but Palisade has the athletes to match them. And the Bulldogs are a team playing with a lot of heart and one that's overcome adversity, but Caspear says it's all a part of the game.
It's just part of football. I'm sure Mountain View's got some adversity too, but the thing about these kids, they've got a lot of heart, and they've shown that for 2 years, and we feel like if we continue to do that, that's all you can ask is for a chance to win, and we feel like if the game's close in the 4th quarter, we'll find a way to win.
We've been through a lot of adversity. We've had 2 starters out, and we've had guys coming in that haven't even had to play any experience. They stepped it up for us, and they did a good job.
And the Bulldogs face the undefeated Mountain Lions Saturday in Loveland. Game time.
The Mountain Lions will be the toughest test this season for Palisade. Mountain View finished the season undefeated and ranked number 1 in 3A. They have also outscored their opponents by an average of 28 points. It's a good thing last week's 2-point win over Fountain Fort Carson is still fresh in Palisade's mind.
I don't think these guys feel like anybody can beat them, and that's a powerful thing. They're not cocky, but they believe, and that's so important. I don't think they'll go in glassy-eyed thinking, oh man, we can't hang with these guys. I think they'll go in there knowing that they're a very good team, but I think that they'll play very hard.
It doesn't really matter who we go up against. We just got to come out and play hard and hit them in the mouth and see how it goes from there.
The state title. John Franke has more.
The road to the state semifinals has been anything but easy for the Palisade Bulldogs. Last week, Palisade barely scraped by 3rd-ranked Fountain Fort Carson. Now undefeated Mountain View awaits.
Well, it's just what we've expected. I feel like our schedule this season sets up for this. And, at this time of year, there's no easy ones, and certainly this week's no different, but that's just the way it is. So I think our kids are ready to go, and we're going to have to play well, but you have to play well this time of year if you expect to advance.
The Bulldogs are accustomed to playing deep into November, and that experience is a huge help as the competition gets tougher each week.
From these tough games, we've learned that we can stick with the better teams out there. Fountain Fort Carson had the most talent we've ever seen in a team, but I think we had more heart, and that's what made us pull through.
The toughest test Palisade may face in the playoffs could be this Saturday, and the team is focused on getting to the title game for a potential rematch with Florence.
We won it bad. We lost it by a touchdown, and that hurts, knowing we were so close and didn't get it.
We want it so bad. This is our main goal this year, to finish. Because last year we didn't finish. And it would be a dream come true if we got to play Florence again.
The Bulldogs are a team that fell only 6 points shy of a state title in 2002, and those painful memories could help drive the team back to the state title game once again. John Franke, News 5 Sports.
The Bulldogs is, if Florence beats Steamboat, the Bulldogs will host the state title game should they.
When Mason State hosts Central Oklahoma in the first round of the NCAAs, we're going to find out if that's true, because as our Tyler Hedrick found out, when these two teams meet at the 50-yard line, it won't just be any old game. It'll sort of be deja vu. Didn't I already say that? Some people believe history repeats itself.
At Computerland, the exciting...
To Annie with love. I love you, Daddy Warbucks.
Way before he became governor, he was known as Conan. G.I. Joe was our real American hero. And a small college in Grand Junction, Colorado, had a season for the ages. Now, 21 years later, it seems that maybe, just maybe, the magic that carried the Mavericks all the way to the title game in '82 could be back at Stoker Stadium. Things were set in motion. First round of the 3A playoffs. Palisade looking to avenge a regular season loss to Rifle.
Bulldogs clinging to an early lead when Alex Swanson changed everything, intercepting Kyle Sanderson's pass, putting Palisade up 14, and they never looked back, sending the Bears into hibernation and giving the Bulldogs their first win of the series in over 3 years. Following week, another set of playoff games and another rematch, this time in 4A. Ralston Valley trying to beat Fruita for the second time this season. Wildcats trailing in the fourth when the mystical power of Stoker struck again. Ryer Gear connects with Anthony Miller, putting Fruita back on top as the Cats corral the Mustangs, moving on to the semifinals. Coincidence? Maybe. But then how do you explain this weekend's game at 12th and North? Mesa State hosting the only team to beat the Mavericks, Central Oklahoma, first round of the Division II playoffs. Of course, this isn't the first time the two have met in the postseason. After claiming the '82 RMAC title, the Mavericks ran playoff wild on the hallowed grounds of Stoker. Winning both their quarterfinal and semifinal games at home, the Herd moved on to the finals against Central State, later to be known as Oklahoma Central. Playing at their home field in Edmond, the Broncos break an 11-all tie with a field goal and then seal it with an interception, ending the Mavs' fabled 82 run. Now, 21 years later, it seems the stars over Stoker may be aligning once again. For News 8, I'm Tyler Hedrick. Thank you, Tyler. On Saturday at 1 p.m. at Stoker Stadium, we'll see if the magic really does exist. All right, it's football time, everybody. We are live in the KJCT 8 studios, and this is the End Zone Show. I am Frank Martin. As usual, to my left, Jim Davis from the Team Sports Talk 1340 AM radio. Of course, they are the sports leader. And, Jim, I got to ask you, as being the sports leader on the radio, what an interesting week. I didn't know how to to open the show, but what an interesting week.
You like to deal in understatement, don't you, Frank?
Yes,
what
I
an
do.
Interesting week. Certainly for Fruita Monument and for Palisade, a chance to get into the state championship game, a return trip for Palisade after making it to last year's state title game. They face a familiar foe, the defending state champion Florence Huskies. And, of course, Palisade had a lot of obstacles to overcome throughout the week, but they stayed focused, played great football on Saturday, in particular in the fourth quarter. And for Fruita Monument, they had a nail-biter as well. Special teams the difference, folks, in the playoffs. We saw that for Grand Junction, losing to Thunder Ridge by a missed extra point. And for Fruita Monument, barely able to beat Ralston Valley. Tried to overcome some missed extra points in that quarterfinal game. This week, 2 made extra points for Fruita. The difference in a 1-point win. They're back in the state championship game, first time since 2000.
We're going to talk all about those state championship games because it is an exciting time. But I have to do my job, and I have to beat a dead horse. I want to clear up some things concerning Palisade and their problems. They are in studio right now, so I'm going to have to apologize for them because they had to live through this whole thing throughout the week. But we are talking about the ineligible player, Lane Wilson, determined to be a fifth-year senior. Palisade mistakenly believed he was still eligible to play varsity football. Now, in turn, they did not file a hardship waiver, and this is where we get into CHASA's rules. If a principal, his designee, or coach certifies or permits any ineligible contestant or player from competition to participate, then all games in which the contestant participated shall be forfeited. Now, what happened on Friday? Why wasn't all the games that Palisade had played this season forfeited? Well, CHASA Commissioner Bill Reeder ruled that the Palisade Bulldogs did not intentionally try to deceive them, and they should not have to forfeit their victory to, penalize the rest of the kids. So they got the win over Fountain Fort Carson. This is how we made that decision, though. Bill Reeder, in the CHASA bylaws, has the authority during state culminating competitions. The commissioner, Bill Reeder, can determine penalties to be assessed for playing an ineligible player or a suspended player from competition. So that is what happened. Fountain Fort Carson, of course, took their case to the courthouse in the 18th Judicial District. They sought an injunction to prohibit Palisade from playing Mountain View. This is what happened on 5/25 Friday. 18th Judicial District Court Judge Michael Spears declined to issue an injunction that would have placed Fountain Fort Carson in the 3A semifinal. The bracket remains the same, Palisade at Mountain View. Jim, didn't know how to go anywhere with this, but those bylaws were in question. I got a chance to talk to Bert Borgman today because another situation developed. Now that Palisade is in the state finals game, I asked Bert, I said, Bert, if Palisade goes ahead and wins this thing, what's going to happen? Do they get to keep their title? He said any speculation on what would happen would be premature at this point. That's a quote. I also asked him if the Palisade wins could be taken away at the end of the season like a title. Could that be taken away? He said, quote, it's not a logical solution that they would strip the Dogs of their state title, but he did want to point out, that's a end quote, start another quote, this could have happened in any sport, so there are a variety of options CHASA is considering. That's another end quote right there. Basically, ominous future
but the Dogs, at least these kids, will still have a chance to win their state title.
Yeah, and talking to Bert Borgman, he had indicated that there's a chance that Palisade might have to give up some wins from during the regular season. Should not affect whether or not they win a state championship. That's something that probably would not be taken away. Difficult situation for everybody involved. You have to feel for Fountain Fort Carson. They certainly, you know, in a difficult spot, but certainly you hate to see this kind of cloud over any kind of high school playoff game. For Palisade, innocent mistake, you know, and talking to other athletic directors and to other folks around the district, could have happened to any school in the Grand Valley. Tough to keep track of records and those type of things. When you're dealing with 300-plus kids during fall sports season, those things happen. And so it's certainly a difficult situation for everybody, but still a big tip of the hat to Palisade's football team. They stayed focused. All they could worry about is playing football.
And they did their job. Now that Court TV is over, folks, we're going to give you a chance to actually see the highlights from that game. When I return after this minute break, Palisade in their semifinal, Fruita in their semifinal, and of course Mesa State's playoff game. You are in the end zone. Okay, after the dust had settled Friday night, Saturday afternoon arrived, and the Palisade Bulldogs finally got to play their semifinal game against Mountain View. We have highlights thanks to the Palisade team's tape. We're in Loveland at Ray Patterson Stadium, third quarter, 3:05 left. Palisade with an 18-6 lead. 18-13 after Kyle Hogue scores. Then it's 21-18 Mountain View after Ricky Gutierrez scores, and that's the first lead for Mountain View in this game. It comes in the fourth quarter. But back come Palisade right there. Kyle Britton, I believe. It's hard to tell the numbers, but then Dustin Harris takes it into the end zone. 2 plays, 24-21 at that point. Then the big play, under a minute and a half to go. The interception by Cody Nystrom. That seals Palisade's victory. The final score in this one, 24-21 after the Dogs down the ball. Palisade goes on to the state's finals. To bring that up, yeah, Dustin Harris, the big guy on the day, 4 touchdowns. And he had an interception on defense as well. Mountain View held to just 208 total yards of offense. I know the snow has a big thing to do with that, but that Palisade defense probably has more to do with it.
Yeah, Palisade defense playing super football right now. And of course, Dustin Harris on the offensive side. Maybe right now in the playoffs, you might name him your MVP. I mean, not to take anything away from Kyle Britton, who's played great in the postseason, but Dustin Harris showing that senior leadership has really helped to carry this offense, along with getting help from Kyle Britton and Cody Nystrom in the backfield.
And next you see on the bottom, they take on Florence in the state finals for 3A. And now we welcome in the Palisade Bulldogs, of course, Todd Casper and Kyle Britton from the Palisade team. Did you take any offense to that, Dave?
No. It's a team game, right, Kyle?
Of course, another big game. Here we are, right back in the finals. Everyone thought you guys would be there. Lo and behold, you guys are back in there, and who you get to play. Florence, you get to have some revenge.
Well, it's nice to be at home this time. It was a long road. I mean, it's pretty neat, really. We talked about being back here in January, and it turned out a lot of things had to happen, but our kids have hung in there and really have played our best football of late, so we're happy to be here.
Kyle, the offense continues to play super, the ground game in particular, the bread and butter of your football team. But talk about your offensive line, because really they've stayed healthy this year, and they're the difference. You're able to plug in different people at the fullback spot. You have talented skill people, but it's that line that really is the difference for this team.
Yeah, our offensive line works real hard. I mean, they're dominant. They get off the ball real well, and you got to get it out to Matt Poppy and Corn and the boys coming together every game to play.
Coach, like I said, I don't want to be a dead horse, but you guys had a lot of adversity to deal with this past week. Lo and behold, your workman-like attitude that seemed to carry you guys throughout the whole season. I'd like to hear both of your opinion on this, but I think it carried you guys through again on Saturday in the face of adversity again.
Well, it's just one of those things we talked about with the kids and said this is an unfortunate situation. We did break a rule, we didn't know about it, and you know, one of our guys that helped us get here is not with us, and we just have to make the best of the situation. That's what we did. We focused on the task, which was Mountain View, and it just shows the character of our team. I just think that it comes back to we sat down after our rifle loss, and we talked as a team and talked about the things we needed to do, and our kids have done that in practice and in games, and that was just one more thing we had to get over, and we were able to do that.
It's the same way for you, and I don't want you to comment on the situation. I understand that, but you had to know some things were going on when you're on that trip.
We knew a little bit about it. Coach didn't really let us know too much about it. We had to keep focused on the game. You just got to feel bad for Lane, and hopefully it doesn't bring us down in the end.
Todd, I think last year, but he felt after the state championship game, you know, we might be seeing Palisade and Florence once again. I don't think it's any big surprise that we're seeing a rematch this year.
Well, I tell you, the team that really is a surprise is Florence. I mean, everyone talked about us because we had so many kids back, but they just do a great job down there. That is an excellent coaching staff. I mean, to have that team back, and they lost almost everybody, so they've got a great group, and you know, we're going to have to play our best football, but that's what you have to do this time of year, and I think we're doing that. So, and it's nice to be at home. We had to go down there last year, and that's a crazy environment, and our kids did a good job. We had a chance to win, didn't get it done, and we're at home this time, so we'll see.
We have only 30 seconds, and Kyle, I got to ask you about that. You get another chance at these guys. You are only a junior, so we could see you in another state final game, but it's got to be happy in terms of your part to get another chance.
It's a dream come true. It's a great opportunity for us to get it back here at home this time. Just come out and play ball.
All right, well, I hope you guys do play well, and good luck this week. At 3:30 is the game at Stoker Stadium. They will take on Florence, and the Huskies come in, and another chance for Palisade to get another state title on the wall, and I wish the best.
I think I'm going to give him a co-MVP. We'll give Cody Nystrom.
We'll wait. He might get the state finals MVP.
Okay, sure. I think he'd settle for that. Sure.
We'll be right back after this break. Okay, two big games Saturday. We're going to talk about that one you just saw as the first one. We're going to break down both games. First up, though, the 3A state final, Palisade and Florence, a rematch of last season's final, 27-21. The Huskies won that one. Their main guy, Ty Baderas.
The coach's son.
The coach's son. How do you stop him? Do you have to stop him to win?
Well, I think that's certainly what Steamboat found out, that you can't forget about their quarterback, Jeremy Young, who had a great game, over 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown. They expect Ty Baderas to play on both sides of the ball. Injured his knee. Again, Steamboat didn't play on the offensive side. They expect him to be ready to go Saturday against Palisade.
And this is last year's game. Maybe a couple comments on how this game is going to be different?
Well, I think that certainly for Palisade, they're a more diverse offense. Everything went through Travis Bounds last year, and Travis had a great season. But Kyle Britton and Dustin Harris and Cody Nystrom have been able to, I think, provide more weapons for Todd K-Spear to work with this year.
Okay, and just a note, Florence has been outscored in the fourth quarter, 107-75. If it comes to that, and Palisade's good in the fourth quarter. Next up, and what's also a state final rematch. Now, this one just last season when the Huskies defeated the Dogs 27-21. This time around, Palisade hoping for a reversal of fortune in their favor. And for the second week in a row, they're going to have to turn to their defense to get it done. Florence comes in with 3 backs over 1,000 yards, and the Huskies also average a whopping 35 points a game.
Some good running backs back there in the backfield, but our defense is good, and I think if we play as a team, we can have a chance against them.
I feel we're just going to have to contain them and play a really solid defense and play as a team, and I think we can stop them.
It's the same thing for our defense. They've got another great offense, and Coach Arledge and his guys have a plan. I think our kids will carry that plan out.
Has overcome injuries and controversy to get this far. So now the Bulldogs have a chance to win the state trophy in front of their home crowd. They'll take full advantage. Cody Nystrom says the team will continue to do what it does best, and that's stick together.
Well, the key thing is being at home. We certainly didn't want to go back down there again, and we would have played anybody at home, so it just turned out it was them, and again, that shows a lot about their program and ours also.
We just stay together as a team. We help each other out when someone's down, and we just overcome all the obstacles, just whatever it takes to get done. So.
Palisade will have its chance at revenge on Florence this Saturday at Stoker Stadium. That game is scheduled to start at 3.
Rights to a live broadcast. Programming issues were also a factor in the decision. Now, the game is off, but our athlete of the week must go on, of course. This Saturday's other game pits Palisade against the Florence Huskies. The Bulldogs rightly deserve to be in the final. Why? Well, they've kind of hurdled every obstacle thrown in their way.
Adversity, a wretched or troubled state. Misfortune, something the Palisade Bulldogs have seen all too often in 2003.
Well, our kids are focused on football right now. That's the main thing. That's what we've told them, is they can't do anything about what else is going on. They can control what happens during practice and what they do during the day. And
Week 6 at Glenwood, senior fullback Victor Green breaks his ankle and is lost for the season, leaving Palisade wondering who, if anybody, can fill Green's shoes.
Ever since then, but we played pretty good. And that Glenwood game, even though we lost those people, we came back pretty strong.
Senior Cody Nystrom makes the switch from receiver to fullback, and the offense doesn't miss a beat.
The line does a good job for us backs. They open the holes for us really well, and so it doesn't make it real difficult unless their line is really good too, and then that's when the backs are having to get the tough yards.
With the offense rolling and Palisade winning, all seemed well, and then it happened. Kicker Lane Wilson turns out to be a fifth-year senior, making him ineligible, putting Palisade's season and title hopes on the line.
the commissioner made his decision that the kid would be pulled out. There will be other sanctions against Palisade, but at this point the commissioner decided that it was better in the interest of everyone involved to continue the playoffs as bracketed.
Chassa's ruling holds up despite an injunction sought by Fountain Fort Carson, allowing the Bulldogs semifinal game at top-ranked Mountain View to go on as scheduled.
We know the truth about our situation. We know the truth about our football team. Come out and do what you can, play the way you can, and we'll deal with the problems when they come next week. And we won, and as you said, there was a lot of things that we had to overcome. But we're able to do that just like we've overcome some other things.
Playing on a snowy field in Loveland, Dustin Harris puts Palisade up for good, completing the Bulldogs' third fourth-quarter comeback in the last 4 games, setting up a rematch with Florence for the title. With Subway Athletes of the Week, the Palisade Bulldogs, Tyler Hedrick, News 8.
On a day like today, well, there is one thing better, and that's playing football. The Fruita Wildcats and the Palisade Bulldogs both preparing for their state championship games at Stoker Stadium this weekend. Held practices this morning, working on their final preparation. As an old coach of mine always said, you know it's been a good year when you're still practicing on Thanksgiving. And what a year the Palisade Bulldogs have had with a record of 12-1. The Bulldogs gearing up for another battle with the Florence Huskies. They sit at 11-2. The third title game between the two teams is at 3:30 at Stoker Stadium.
4 straight titles from 1994 to 97, looking to add another to their collection. Palisade hosts Florence. Of course, this isn't their first meeting when the stakes have been high. In 1996, Bulldogs beat Florence by 9 for the championship, and then just last year, the two met in Florence with the Huskies capturing their first title since '83, beating the Dogs 27-21. How the third meeting unfolds, well, is yet to be unseen, but one thing's for sure, the Bulldogs know they're in for a battle.
It's good to have them come over here because we have our hometown fans. It's really good for the Western Slope because it's just everybody's going to be at the game.
It's huge to get anybody at home at this stage, and we certainly didn't want to go back to Florence, so it's nice to be at home, and hopefully we'll have a great crowd and it'll be a factor. But again, once you tee it up, you got to play, so our kids got to take care of that part on the field.
Here it is. Championship Saturday begins tomorrow morning with Fruita and Loveland at 11, followed by a rematch of last year's 3A title game between Florence and Palisade. Don't miss a minute of the action right here on KJCT.
The city of Palisade is celebrating
the right to be known as the best team in the state.
John Franke joins us now live in the studio with more on tonight's action. John.
Well, thank you very much, Janice and Eric. Last season, the Palisade Bulldogs traveled to Florence for the 3A state title game. On that day 1 year ago, the Bulldogs fell by only 6 points. It was an unforgettable loss, and the Bulldog players told me earlier in the week they wanted nothing more than to exact some revenge on the Huskies at home at Stoker Stadium. Well, the Dogs completed their revenge, and now the state title is back in Palisade for the first time since 1997. We'll have complete highlights later on in the sports segment on this champion. Caught my breath. It was an incredible day of football all around the Grand Valley today, especially at Stoker Stadium, obviously, where there were 2 state championship football games. Fruita played in the morning, Palisade played in the evening, and the Palisade Bulldogs finished some business that they couldn't finish last year. The details are next in sports. Palisade Bulldogs were so close to a state championship, they could almost taste it. But when the dust settled on the 3A game last year, all the Bulldogs had to show for their efforts was a heartbreaking 6-point loss to Florence. That defeat left a bitter taste for everyone on the team, and today the Bulldogs had a chance to erase those memories, taking on Florence in a rematch of the 2002 state title. We get you right out to pictures from Stoker Stadium where Todd Casefear's squad looked to finish the business that they didn't finish last year. The opening kickoff, and again, we don't show kickoffs to show fair catches. Cody Nystrom takes it, gets some nice blocks, makes a nice move, and he's off to the races, has one man to beat, can't quite beat him, but Nystrom gets the opening kickoff all the way into Husky territory, down to the 45-yard line to put Palisade in great shape, and they would take advantage. 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. Dustin Harris, the quarterback keeper, he's in for the touchdown. The Bulldogs led 7-0 early on. After a Bulldogs defensive stop, Palisade again on the move. They give the ball to Kyle Britton, and like he's done all year, fights for the extra yardage, gets down to the Husky 12-yard line. Now the Bulldogs right on the goal line. They give it up the middle to Cody Nystrom, and he's in for the touchdown. 14-0 Palisade led after just 2 drives in the first quarter. Florence made a valiant effort trying to come back, but the Bulldog defense was staunch. There, Matt Popik sacks quarterback Jeremy Young, and there would be more of that as Jeremy Young all day would have to run for his life. Here in a ton of trouble in the backfield, trying to get out of it, looking for some daylight, but instead David Grove takes him down for the big loss. You win championships with defense, and Palisade won the championship today with defense. Late in the first half, the Huskies driving, but Young's pass is tipped and intercepted by Tyler Barnes. Palisade led 14-0 at the half. Things just got better in the second half, and the Palisade Bulldogs 24-6 winners over Florence to win their first 3A football championship since 1997. The Bulldogs said they had some unfinished business to take care of this season, and boy, oh boy, they did just that.
It feels good. I mean, our kids deserved it, and I'm proud of my kids. Kids and coaches, I can't think of a group of kids that deserves it more. After all that's went on, these guys deserve it.
We knew they were going to be a good team. We didn't think it was going to be a pushover or anything like that. They came out and they played their ball, and we came out and we played, and a better team won this time.
It feels great. I've always dreamed about winning the state championship for the Bulldogs, and finally did.
Come away with the win.
Oh, it was big. Last year it went the other way, but this year we tried harder. We did everything that we could. We prepared throughout the week, and we weren't going to let anything get in our way this year. We were just going to play our hardest, and that's all there is to it.
Bulldogs with a 6-point win at home. Would Palisade get some revenge on their own turf? Well, let's find out. Opening drive, Kyle Britton picks up 15, and along with it, a Palisade first down. Dustin Harris caps off the drive with the plunge for 6. PAT good, 7-0 Bulldogs. Still in the first, Britton, nifty little run, picks up 10 more yards. And his partner in the backfield, Cody Nystrom, finishes it off with another short touchdown run. 14-0 Bulldogs. Looking like they're rolling, but in the second quarter, Florence threatening Jeremy Young to the end zone. Looking for Joe Rico, and it's through his hands. Huskies would eventually turn it over on downs. And then, with less than a minute before the half, 4th down, Young again to the end zone, and it's dropped again, this time by Brandon St. Laurent. 14-0 Bulldogs at the half. In the third, Huskies driving. Ty Baderas picking up some tough yards. 1st and goal, Florence. Baderas finishes what he started. Kick, no good though. Palisade's lead cut to 8. Bulldogs respond. Harris hooking up with Tyler Barnes for a big gainer. And Nystrom says, not this year, Huskies. Puts Palisade up 15. And the Bulldogs claim their first title since 1997. Their 5th in 10 years, 24-6.
I couldn't have felt any better. State championship against the team that beat us last year is the best feeling ever.
Our defense was tough tonight. They didn't score on us at all, and we played tough.
Yeah, it feels great. We have been through a lot, and we just had to stay together.
I just thought our kids weren't going to lose. I mean, they just decided they were going to win this game, and as soon as we found out it was home, we knew we'd be a force. And our kids have been focused since mid-season. They just weren't going to lose today.
The best way possible with the state title. As a tribute to the state champs, here's your chance to relive some of Saturday's moments.
Is a bloom, shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck, and you're not moving anywhere. You thought you found a friend,
thanks go out to Sean Quintana for providing those awesome highlights, and congratulations, of course, to the Palisade Bulldogs. That's great.
Very emotional to watch
right.
that. So.
And those Palisade Bulldogs actually have a pep assembly tomorrow to celebrate that 5th title in the last 10 years.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tyler. Congratulations to them.
First football title in over 6 years. The Palisade players and coaches share the joy with the rest of the community with an all-school pep assembly today. A packed gymnasium paying their respects to the players and coaches, cheerleaders, and band for a successful 2003 campaign that saw the Bulldogs finish the year 13-1, capturing their 5th championship in the last 10 seasons with a 24-6 home win over Florence on Saturday. Head coach Todd Casebeer thanked the community, joined the 4 other championship teams from 94 through 97 in the main corridor, also the trophy room outside the gym. Afterwards, players and coaches extremely thankful.
Todd Casebeer voiced how proud he was of the team, and some of the team's captains addressed the student body and thanked them for all of their support during the season. He spoke to the high school principal about how winning a championship affects the community.
You know, it really means a lot to any high school when you win a state championship. But in football, I don't know, it seems to really come to the forefront, and it tends to draw more attention because it's football. But what it does, it really brings a sense of pride to the community and the school. It's really neat. I'm really proud of the kids. I'm proud of this community and this school. We got a great coaching staff. They do a good job with the kids, not only on the field, but in the classroom. And the pride just carries on. And I think we're probably there today because of the pride that was instilled here back in '97.
Achievements of the Palisade football team. As the school proudly displayed the 3A state title trophy, students and fans showed their appreciation for the team for their long season efforts. Palisade finished the year with a 13-1 record, which culminated with the championship on Saturday. After getting so close last season, the Bulldogs came out more focused and more determined for this campaign, and that determination paid off in a grand fashion. This is the first time since 1997 the Bulldogs have brought home the crown, and it feels good to have the trophy back at Palisade.
It's really big, not only for the school, but also for the Valley, because it's been a long time since anybody got a state championship. I think the last time was actually when Palisade won it last, so it's really big for the school and the Valley as a whole.
We gain a lot more respect. We get another plaque out there. We get another banner. We have another trophy. I mean, it brings back everything.
And that's the thing that's unfortunate is only one team gets to feel this way in each class, but I'm glad it's us. And our kids really deserve this. They worked very hard for it and had to have a lot of things happen along the way. It was a heck of a ride, but we're the best 3A football team in the state.